have played the game many years. Some have earned a living the hard way, but ultimately they've won, and generally they care and they've had success. So you naturally have to respect those types of coaches.
So let's go to the goalie matchup. The piece of plywood goes for Tampa, Vasilevsky, and Stolarz, who has really looked good lately. This is going to be an interesting battle tonight.
It is, and there were some questions with Vasilevsky coming back from his injury last year. Is he going to be the same? And you're looking at what he's done in the last 5 games. He's only got 5 goals against, .961 save percentage, 1.01. So it's going to be a tough game, I guess, for Toronto in getting the puck past Vasilevsky. As he just seems to peak at the perfect time, and he is a difference maker. So if I'm Toronto, you got to get shots, right? You got to get shots. He did have 39 against the New York Rangers in their 5-1 win. So I think they just have to do volume, but take his time and space away, get in front of him, push him to the back of the crease. And Stolarz just seems like he's hitting his mark. He's looking a lot big. Remember earlier on in the season, we always described you had to have the perfect shot where you just had to roof it top shelf into that little small area to beat him. And he's getting back to that form where he's just square, dialed in. He's tracking pucks really, really good for this Maple Leafs team. And ultimately, he's got the confidence of his group where they just seem to have a sense of calmness, knowing that if there is a breakdown, he's going to be that last line of defense and dialed in. So it's going to be a good game. I don't know who to give the edge to, and both goaltenders are playing at a high level, and both can and I think will be difference makers tonight.
Well, and let's get into narratives. I'm not a big narrative guy, but I think that I like to flip things around. So, I mean, there's a danger the Leafs could lose both these games, but we'll see. But I would caution everybody to think this way. Even if they'd won both those games, then the parade would start. But I would say, well, I think I said going in, it doesn't guarantee anything. It just shows that you could win those 2 games and look after business for first place. But it doesn't guarantee anything in the playoffs. That's a clean slate. Are you with me?
It does, right? And I think it's a good thing that they finished first in the division, but it's not the end-all be-all. You're going to have to beat a good team, 3 good teams to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. And, I'd rather almost play a Florida in that first round rather than the second round. So, again, for me, it's not an end-all be-all. You wanna go into playoffs, the power play clicking, all 4 lines going, your goaltending playing well, having confidence in the group. That's more important than, hey, we got a couple wins now, we're first place, and you stumble in just winning by the skin of your teeth. So win, lose, or draw, which obviously can't happen tonight, you still have a chance to win the division, right? Montreal, who's playing great, you got Carolina, but you finish with Buffalo and Detroit, 2 teams that have been struggling as of late, and you can set yourself up, essentially to win the division. So I think for them, the fact that they're controlling their own destiny just shows what type of season it's been for Maple Leafs. They've been great. They've been at the top or at the top or near the top for most of the year. And I think you got to hang your hat on that despite the implications of winning a playoff round or not.
Quite frankly, I would look at this game as the result is something you have to deal with, but it's how you play. It's how the Leafs respond tonight. Maybe it's successful, maybe it isn't. And you know better than anybody that when you're in a playoff series, sometimes you do everything right and you don't get the result in the first game, but maybe in the second game.
Yes, and again, we don't deal in feelings in this business, but I have a feeling there's an early goal coming. I don't know who for who. Right, we're sitting here analyzing, and it could be 3-0 in the first 5 minutes. But I just go back to sort of the history of this group this season. They've responded. They've responded really, really well. And in this market where we're ready to get the headlines out and put it on the table and get the articles, they come back with a big win and a statement win. So do I think that's going to happen tonight? I can see it be a tight checking game, but I could see the big 4 stepping up and 2 of them having big nights tonight.
Well, and I could offer this. Following the Leafs all these years, it makes the stock market a little easy to understand because it's up and down, and so is Leaf Nation, right?
Who said tariffs?
Oh, no, guy.
Man, what's the price of lumber? But, it's up and down. But, when have you sat there? There's been twice this season where I'm like, oh man, are they not going to make the playoffs? Are they going to fall out? Where in seasons past, there's been, twice a month where, hey, what's going on with the group? What's going on with the third line? What's going on with Pierre Engvall? What's going on with the power play? What's going on with those questions and those serious questions and taking a deep dive into the group, it's been few and far between. So consistently, I always describe this group as being consistent. And, again, I think right now they're starting to peak. I think they're playing some great hockey. hockey. It was obviously a one-off versus Florida, but they've responded when called to the carpet many a times, and I could see tonight being no different.
Well, for the most part, when you look at the schedule, there's losses that are surrounded by clusters of wins on either side. So you can focus in on what didn't go right in particular games. But, you know, I guess the full picture, the big picture is this team is a lot different than ones before it. And it has a lot more elements. The ultimate question becomes, is it enough? And sometimes, much like in a game where you could do everything right and not win, maybe all the roster moves were correct. But, you know, the question still remains, is it good enough? And we're going to find that answer out in probably 2 weeks' time.
Yes, and we're just building on that, right? Like, how many games this year can you actually say they were completely outclassed? I think they were outplayed against the Florida Panthers, but you didn't think like they had no business being on the ice. And maybe one of the Columbus games, Colorado, the Vegas, like those where they're outclassed. We're like, oh man, like I hope they don't see these guys until the 5th round, if that's even possible, right? That's how good they were outplayed, and that's how good those teams are, right? So,
yeah,
you know, they've been outplayed. They've had some nights where they've had stinkers, but consistently they've found ways to respond and play that Craig Bube and stick to the system. So for me, that's why I'm excited. I'm excited for these playoffs. And right now, it's not about the results. It's about the process. And if they continue to do that, that's what I'm looking for. It's not the wins and losses. If they finish first or second in the division. It's, you know, are they closing out, playing the game the right way, chipping pucks in, playing that system that is successful. And we talked about those close games where it's 1-0 or 2-1. They've been on the right side of those a lot more times than being on the wrong side. So that's why I'm excited, and that's why I'm looking to see how they do tonight.
Just a very quick thought. I think we could define a Leaf loss. It's just it lacks energy and physical grit, and that was certainly the case last night, wasn't it?
It lacks soul. They played without soul last night, so maybe they did a little bit dancing last night to get it back, and we'll see. I
don't know if that's soul music behind us, but nonetheless, it'll take us to the top of the hour. We'll set up the opening face-off for you next. Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Back pain again? Must be from that run. 2 weeks ago? Maybe I pulled something sneezing. Could it be my mattress? Nah, it was definitely the sneeze.
It's your mattress. It's impacting your sleep. Stop playing the blame game. During the Time to Switch event, get up to 20% off selected headboards. For a limited time only, restrictions apply. Speak to a sleep expert for details. Only at Sleep Country.
Formula One lives on TSN with every race all season long. And with TSN Plus, go that extra mile with onboard cameras, pit lane channel, and more.
Boy, is it good here.
F1 lives on TSN and TSN Plus. Subscribe now.
Now at Joe Fresh, earn 15,000 PC Optimum points when you spend $75 or more on apparel. Only until April 9th. Now's the time to shop new spring styles, including even more women's tops for $25 or less. Conditions apply. See in-store or joefresh.com for details.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt.
What's up, hockey fans, Leafs fans, Toronto Maple Leafs insiders? Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's number 1 versus number 2 in the Atlantic Division. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Playoffs are right around the corner. We'll get to that later. Tonight is massive. Who puts the nail in the coffin for the Atlantic Division title? The Leafs come in 2 points ahead of the Lightning tonight, but the game's in Tampa and our buds couldn't get it done last night against the Panthers. Hopefully we turn it around tonight, but we're going to need your help in the chat to cheer them on loud and get it fired up. We'll see you in there. Thank you for being here, team. Go Leafs, go!
Combined are better, and on it goes. The Leafs have to respond tonight. Question, will they? Well, let's find out. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey starts now.
It's time for Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on
TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Oh, yes, they do. Welcome aboard to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart with you, minutes away from joining Bonesy and Ralphie as they get set to call the accounts and descriptions of tonight's game from Tampa. Let's get into the coach's comment now. Tonight's coach's comment, powered by your Ontario Honda dealers. Score a $1,500 Honda bonus in the CRV Sport. Conditions apply. Visit HondaOntario.com. Coach Bube and the message to the team this morning.
A lot of what we talked about last night, I talked to you guys about, and, move on. And it's a big game tonight, obviously. First place, very good team. Tampa, we know what they're all about. We got to be a lot more competitive, and we got to win more puck battles than we did last night, more urgency in our game than we had last night. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
What have you seen from your group this year when they've had a result like last night? There have been very few of them in the ability to respond. They've
been good. We usually, they come out and a lot more competitive the next game and, get a response out of them.
You guys have sorry, go ahead.
No, I expect the same thing.
You guys have been good against Tampa this year. What have you liked about how the group has approached the matchups against Tampa?
Well, you got to do a good job with your penalty kill. You got to be disciplined, and I think we had a 5-minute major against them this year. I'm not sure early on, but our penalty kill's been good against them. It's got to be good, and we got to be disciplined. You got to do a good job of checking their top players. I mean, they're obviously very good players, and they're competitive players, so we got to do a good job of that. And we did a good job of counterattacking them. We checked well, and we were able to create something the other way off of it. And I think we did a good job of that in the 3 games this year so far against them.
What has stood out to you about Kucherov in particular when you talk about their top guys? How do you? It seems like a kind of guy you never know exactly what he's going to do. What's the best way to approach him?
Well, you got to take time and space away from him. You got to be hard on him and physical as much as you can. At the same time, he's such a good playmaker, and he has the eyes in the back of his head almost. He knows where his players are and his line mates, and he'll just make a play under pressure to him. He's very good at it. He's an elite player. We all know that. But at the same time, we got to go at him. We got to take time and space away from him. We got to have good sticks against him. I mean, that's important. Good stick details and taking away his options and getting sticks on pucks and things like that. Because, like I said, he's under pressure. He'll still make a play.
So the starting lineup for the Leafs will go like this. Matthews between Marner and Nyes, Tavares centering Nylander and Yarncroke, Domi centering Bobby McMahon, and who am I missing? Lawton. And the fourth line actually is Holmberg between Robertson and Lorenz. The defense pairings, Riley, Carlo, OEL, Tanev, Benoit, Myers, who had, a giveaway night last night, so we'll look for a rebound there. Stolar starts in goal. And Stu, as we mentioned earlier, the change for the Lightning, Gensel out, an 11-7 configuration, 11 forwards, 7 defensemen, and we'll see how that works, but they've done it many times before, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
Yes, and it's a team that's used to sort of having that configuration, as you mentioned, too, and a lot of guys that can handle those extra minutes, right? And, for me, I'm looking at a guy, Hagel already at 21 minutes, Cirelli, right? He's only at, just under 19 minutes. I'm sure he can handle that extra work. And, same with Nick Paul, who's under 17 minutes. So there's a lot of players there that can weather the storm for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So from the Maple Leafs, you just have to find a way to skate. It's going to be a fast-paced game. All 4 lines can skate. They can push the pace, but ultimately, they have to find a way to play similar to last night, but just try to have a little bit more jump. Try to get to the net. Try to draw a couple more penalties. Try not to get hemmed in your end, and also ultimately have good discipline.
So Camp and McCabe's still out, and I'm going to bring this up because of the Gensel departure and what we talked about this with the Florida Panthers last night, all these injuries. I mean, there's the agenda of doing the best you can and finishing as high as you can, but the hidden agenda is stay healthy. And, I don't know what the extent of the Gensel injury is, or I don't know, when some of those Panther guys get back, if they're ready to go. I'd rather just be healthy going in as opposed to welcoming people back.
Well, maybe they're playing the Florida Panther game where they want to play the back end. It's funny. Yes, we're Leaf centric, but there's injuries everywhere throughout the league. And, you look at other teams, especially in the West, there's guys that are out. So you have to, almost have that next man up mentality. But the good thing is, and it's good for Tampa Bay, not good for Toronto, there's a lot of guys that can handle extra workload. There's guys that can add offense, can play a good defense, win their face-off. So for Toronto tonight, it's just, again, it's an extension of, stylistic, yes, play yesterday, but just try to bring that jump, right? And again, they've mixed up the line. Some guys are up, some guys are down. And, ultimately, I think the defense played a half-decent game last night as well, too. And, you're seeing Benoit and Myers with a little bit more, ice time, and great on job by Myers. I think the 2 games he's been back since sitting for a month, I think he's came in and filled in admirably. So, specialty teams, goaltending, and a little bit more jump is the keys to success for Toronto if I'm them.
And I think anybody listening and watching will be looking for that immediate start by the Leafs. That's the outside view. I mean, if you're on that team, you literally want every shift to work, don't you?
Yes, so I think you're saying that there's going to be a 4 nations face-off, Canada versus US.
No. I'm just.
But, and it's funny as a player, right? As a player, when the coach talks about that energy and lack thereof, I would take that as a message to me. So I would literally have to come out and not necessarily start a fight, but just to start to get the energy and start to maybe have guys be a little PO'd at me and try to find a way to sort of drag the team into the fight. And you're seeing teams like the Florida Panthers with Tkachuk and Marchand, they need something like that. So the one person I could look for, especially after their comments to last night, Matthew Nyes, I'm going to be interested to see if he's a guy that maybe gets into a couple scrums early. I would not be surprised to say not see a fight, but just see a little bit more, vinegar in their game and a little bit more, upsetness, if that's a word for the Maple Leafs.
It is now. What I would suggest to you is that somebody does something so that it can develop into something else. In other words, if Nyes goes out and does something, then the next guy comes over the boards and adds to it. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think it's just creating that energy, coming in waves, right? The game was too fragmented last night, where they had a good shift to here and there, and then there's 2-3 shifts followed that weren't great. So I think it's just consistency, and I think that's been the name of the game for Toronto, and I'm interested to see how they build on that tonight.
The opening faceoff is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Because sometimes the music needs to speak for itself. Set the mood with instrumental channels on the SiriusXM app. From smooth jazz and epic orchestras to lo-fi beats and high-energy rock anthems. Find over a dozen instrumental channels available anytime. At home, on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stiller. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the SiriusXM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable.
Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite club.
We deliver the NHL.
And I just wonder, Berkey, what your thoughts are on the Capitals. They are Exhibit A as to why a retool can work.
Yes, but it's early. Haven't had a playoff run yet. A lot of people taking bows right now that shouldn't be. I really like this coach. I think Chris Patrick, the GM, has done a real nice job. It is a retool, right? And the goaltending's been spectacular, but let's see. Don't pick out a parade route yet, boys.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
Right side to Wilson, centered up. Ovechkin has it. He scores! He scores! Alex Ovechkin scores 895. There's a new goal-scoring champion, and his name is Alexander Ovechkin. He has done it.
Congratulations to Alexander Ovechkin. Welcome to Hockey Immortality from everyone at Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
The show shortly. Please stand by, or please use what we expect.
The Leafs have traveled down Alligator Alley from Sunrise, Florida to Tampa Bay as they tangle with the Tampa Bay Lightning in a game that is, if not crucial, very important as far as the Maple Leafs are concerned. And the starting goaltenders, Anthony Stolarz, who is 18-8-3 this year and riding a 5-game winning streak, which is equal to his longest of his career. 2.26 goals against average, .922 save percentage, 1-0-1 lifetime against the Lightning. Andrei Vasilevsky, the workhorse, 37-20-3 for the Lightning, 2.14 and a .923 save percentage over all of that action. But he is 15-12-2 against the Leafs, 2.66 in the goals against average there. Jake Guentzel not in the lineup. We believe it is for a maternity situation. His wife is expecting, and I believe that is the reason Guentzel is not in. It is not an injury as Nylander brings it in with a shot and snapped it wide of the Tampa Bay goal. The Leafs to the right and the Lightning to the left. Played up on the wing, too far for Kucherov. Puck is knocked in over the Toronto line. Tanev will get to it on the far boards, pounding it up the wall. Doesn't get out initially. Tanev gets another opportunity, and now is going to circle back in his own end. Leafs are changing, and it is Oliver Ekman-Larsson giving it to Tanev, who hits the red line and then circles back as the rest of the change is coming. And the pass goes off onto the wing, and it is Morgan Rielly getting it ahead in off the skate of Matthews. Down into the corner, played along the boards by Radish, and out come the Lightning to center ice. Chipping it in over the line and getting wide is Gonçalves. It goes along the boards in the Toronto zone, and the Leafs get it out. Knives to Marner. Marner will snap it in wide of the goal. Knives into the forecheck, trying to get a hit in there on the defenseman Chernak. The puck comes free to the line, not out. Leafs keep it into Marner. Marner gets a shot and scores! Just what the doctor ordered. Get off to a good start. And Mitchell Marner, a step closer to 100 points, has the opening goal.
25th goal, 95th point, and this is all pursuit on the forecheck. As Austin Matthews makes a great play to keep the puck in right at the Tampa Bay line, and then throws it to the high slot to Marner, who dances around Ryan McDonough, the league leader in plus-minus, and snaps it from above the hash marks, middle of the ice, far side, blocker side on Andrei Vasilevsky to give the Leafs a 1-0 lead.
4 goals and 12 points in his last 9 games for Mitch Marner, and the Leafs get off to a good start with the opening goal. Pontus Holmberg on the boards and pushed out at center ice in a foot race here. Lorenz won't win it. And now here's Holmberg driving into the zone. Got some support from Lawton. The puck along the boards in the near corner in the Tampa Bay zone. Puck goes around back of the net. Lorenz gets it back to the point. Wrist shot from Myers off a leg, went well wide of the net. Here's Lawton getting it back to the near point and a shot. Blocker saving a rebound, came in front, but Holmberg couldn't settle it down. I don't think he saw it in time. Lightning around back of their goal. Lilleberg settling things down as Tampa Bay will change. An early goal for the Maple Leafs on the first shot of the game. Brought to center and in over the line by Bjorkstrand, but the Leafs play it right back out again. Played to the Leaf zone and down into the Toronto end. Could have been icing, it looked like, but nothing forthcoming. The Leafs get it to the line, but not out. Long shot from the right side by Moser, went wide of the net. Played back to the point again. Over to Moser once more. He returns the favor to his D partner, and a pass in front of the net was intercepted, and it is played off the boards and out at center ice, and Domi racing away 2-on-1 with Bobby McMahon. Domi to McMahon. Big pad save made by Vasilevsky, and it's cleared to center ice. Two huge opportunities for the Maple Leafs here in the first 3 minutes of the game. One of them is in the back of the net. Left wing feed for Matthews. Matthews gets around Chernik to get it around back of the net. Nyes with another hit. Comes back to the near side. And now the Lightning will get it out. Kucherov getting a pass back on the right wing side for Point. Braden Point works into the corner. Back to the blue line, but it's intercepted, and Nyes skating through center. A pass from Marner went off his stick and goes into the far corner. Marner and Nyes arrive there, but can't come up with it. And it's cleared to the line, but another turnover. Here's Matthews in, shooting, stop, rebound, scores! Nyes makes it 2-0 Toronto!
Two goals, same line.
Same situation.
Yeah.
Turnover.
And what you like about it, Joe, get the puck deep and go in after it. And all three have been dogs on the puck when it comes to the forecheck. And on this one here, it goes off the skate of Kucherov, just inside the Tampa line and out to the middle of the ice, where Mitch Marner returns the favor, gives a toss to Matthews in the high slot. Matthews shoots, low blocker on Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky gets his right pad on it, but right onto the stick of Matthew Nyes, who has been absolutely brilliant against Tampa Bay. Looks like the Leafs, John Tavares is going off now here on a tripping call.
So the Leafs score early and take a 2-0 lead, and Tavares. Wow. That was a 2-0 trip right there, as Cirelli felt the stick on his thigh, and for some reason the bottom of his feet fell apart and he went down. So the Leafs are a man short, and the power play of the Tampa Bay Lightning has been excellent. 6th in the league, 25.7%, trailing Toronto, who are 5th in the league. Shot from the point goes high and wide, swatted at but not cleared. Benoit gets it back to the far point. Now Hedman with it. Back to Hedman. One-timer coming. Knocked wide of the net. I don't know if Stolar's got a piece of that or not. Down into the corner for Kucherov. Kucherov trying to center through the goal crease, and it's gone by everyone and sails out into the center ice area, forcing Hedman back into his own zone. 2-0 Toronto early in this hockey game. Brought on by Point. Swept in on the right side and into the corner. It goes for Bjorkstrand. Back to Hedman. Now to Kucherov. Kucherov back to Hedman, and a one-timer coming. That deflected wide of the net. Point on the far side. Works to the half boards. Down into the corner now. Looking for a man in front in Cirelli. It comes back to Hedman. A shot. That rang off the goalpost, and you could hear it all the way up here in Scarborough. Back to the point. It comes on the near side. Kucherov, a shot blocked. Rebound doesn't clear. Point coming in with a shot off the other goalpost. It comes to the near side to Kucherov. He loses it, and Nyes gets it airmailed out and down the ice. What a start. Are you still with us?
My ears are ringing. Why? And those were hard. Those hit the post, bang on and loud.
In around back of the goal with a half minute left to go in the penalty. Leafs get it off a body, but not cleared. Here's a shot blockered and deflected by Lorenz Ortanov up into the screen, out of play.
Boy, Victor Hammond just rifled one off the post. 2 opportunities in a row for the Lightning.
He can shoot it.
Well, maybe this is, I mean, there's nothing you can do here if you're Anthony Stolarz. And then Anthony Cirelli tries to go far side. That might have got a piece of Stolarz, Joe. The
Before
left
it hit
shoulder
the post.
before
Yeah,
it hit the post.
it slowed down before it hit the post. Didn't sound nearly as good. Set down the ice by the Leafs. 12 seconds left in the penalty. Brought to center by Brandon Hagel. He gets in with a shot. And that goes up into the screen off the shoulder. And Hagel is upset that a penalty wasn't called on his attempt to come through neutral ice with Lorenz doggedly chasing him.
I think when you look at the first call, that probably should have been a major on Marner chasing
That was
Hagel.
Marner. Sorry, it wasn't Lorenz. Marner. So the penalty is 5 seconds left in it. Face-off in the Toronto zone. And the Leafs have a 2-0 lead on 4 shots. Lawton will take the face-off. And the draw scrum, but the Leafs control it. And Riley rips it around the boards, but it is trapped at the blue line. Then knocked back towards the line and out at center and out of the penalty box. Here's Tavares. He's in a goal in for the backhand. And Vasilevsky is able to make the save. Everything breaking the Leafs' way here in the early going. John Tavares, if he'd scored there, this thing would have really been in trouble. Shot goes off a body wide. Leafs get it up on the wing and have iced the puck. No, it hits the linesman, so it's maintained in the center ice area. Brought in over the line by Kucherov. Into point and a shot. That hit the goal post on the other side. Everybody buzzing down in Florida over 3 goal posts, 2 goals, and a breakaway. How's the first 7 minutes been? Here's a chance now and a shot. That went off a body in front of the net as Myers got a skate in the way. Played to the point then by Hagel. Another pass into the slot area, gobbled up by Cirelli. Down around back of the net, centering pass. Down and blocked by Stolarz and then covered up.
Well, what's amazing about this, the Leafs get the 2-0 lead. A very marginal call against John Tavares. Tampa hits the post twice. Then the Leafs try to dump it in. It goes off a linesman, leads to a rush for Tampa, and they hit a third post. So as much as the officials have played a part in Tampa's opportunities, the goalposts have said no.
No. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Rafinha!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history.
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. We got to get the usual YouTube business out of the way, team. Now's the time. Please exit out of the chat and check to see if you've hit that thumbs up button. Have you hit that like button yet? The more likes we get, the more people will come find us to hang out with us and cheer on our buds tonight. And we need all the help we can get against the Lightning to try and wrap up the Atlantic Division crown. As well, please share this link out. Send it out to your friends, your enemies if you have to. I mean, we even have Montreal Canadian fans here in the chat that have a good time and cheer on with the Leafs with us. How has that even happened? Tonight, go Leafs go. Thank you for being here. Please share the link. Hit that like button. If you're new, turn on the subscribe button as well with that little bell so you don't miss it. Every single Leafs game all season long. And yeah, we're doing every single game of the NHL playoffs as part of our Playoff Pulse campaign. Go Leafs go. We'll see you back in the chat.
Tampa, Florida, Washington. I'm not buying it. What's that song? I won't be fooled again.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have it taken. Don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, the show has never changed. We're just back home. And it's great to be there. Sirius 161, XM 206. See you there.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the Sirius XM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable. Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Just search for your favorite club.
We deliver the NHL.
And I just wonder, Berkey, what your thoughts are on the Capitals. They are Exhibit A as to why a retool can work.
Yes, but it's early. Haven't had a playoff run yet. A lot of people taking bows right now that shouldn't be. I really like this coach. I think Chris Patrick, the GM, has done a real nice job. It is a retool, right? And the goaltending's been spectacular, but let's see. Don't pick out a parade route yet, boys.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team.
Gobbled up by Nyes. He can't get by one defender, and the Lightning have it under control again at their own blue line. On to Kucherov with room down the right side. Stops up at the top of the circle. Got a shot away. Puck is still free. Yeah, knocked wide of the net. The oven mitts couldn't get down on it fast enough as Stolars was searching for it in a maze of legs. Moser getting it ahead for Braden Point. Point in on the right side. Poked into the corner there nicely by Benoit. And Benoit takes the puck away from him, and Nylander gets by one and is in over the line. Nylander stopping up on the near half boards. Back to the right wing side. A shot by Myers is into the chest of Vasilevsky, and he will hold for a faceoff. Kucherov comes into the game trailing McKinnon by a single point for the scoring leadership in the National Hockey League.
He also played 6 fewer games. I don't know if that's going to play into
Hart Trophy.
Possible Hart Trophy for him. He did miss 4 games this year with injuries. 73. This is his 74th game played. McKinnon's played 79.
And we need to congratulate Travis Green and the Ottawa Senators, who have joined the party for the postseason run this year. And congratulations to them. A long lead pass ends up not being icing. Myers has to go back and punch it along the boards. Leafs get control of it, and a pass up on the near wing will be played in over the line. No, it doesn't get far enough to get to Tavares. Back come the Lightning in across the line. Weak backhand in on goal. Quickly swallowed up by Anthony Stolars, and Myers does a little tidying up around the house, knocking a couple of people out of the way, and a face-off coming in the Toronto zone as a result.
Like the way Myers has played. Like I said, the final shots showed 5 giveaways in the game against Florida last night, but I don't remember anything being horrid.
Boy, and he hadn't played in a month.
I think 10 games he'd missed.
Played out on the wing. McMahon couldn't get it. Brought back in now, and a pass into the slot area by Glendening was knocked away. It comes back to the point. Shot is blocked, and Domi's got to break down the right side with one man back. He's in a goal, and a backhand went high over top of the goal and off the glass. Leafs have had some odd man rushes here and had some great chances. Now Robertson playing it in and around the boards to Morgan Riley. Riley starts up ice with a pass ahead for Bobby McMahon. He'll just flip it into the zone. Leafs are getting in change here. The fourth line is coming over the boards. And now the Lightning get it out into the center ice area, but Lorenz catches up to Moser. Can't play it into the zone, though. And Bjorkstrand will send it down into the Toronto end. Halfway through period number 1, and the Maple Leafs have a 2-0 lead. In across the line, puck knocked away, but the stick of the defender was knocked out of his hands. Moser kicks it ahead, and the Lightning will get it down into the Toronto zone. Tanev around the boards, cut off. Then a pass deflects, and it is going to be Lorenz getting it high into Tampa Bay territory. Chernik waiting for a return pass. McDonough goes back behind the net instead. Matthews line on the ice for Toronto. They've had both goals. Played down into the Toronto zone. Spinning with it, Cirelli, a centering pass. Backhanded high and wide there off the stick of Brandon Hagel. Puck is around back of the net. OEL got it up on the wing, but not out. Puck goes back of the goal, and Matthews finds Marner, who drops for Matthews, who returns it to Marner, who returns it to Matthews, and he's in on the wing on the left side, looking top shelf and just missing. Puck along the boards, OEL couldn't keep it in. Morgan Riley comes up with it, waits for teammates to get onside. Nice, a nifty move, got a shot away, and it's into the chest of Vasilevsky, and play is whistled dead.
I tell you, if you're trying to promote the game, watch the first 11 minutes of this, and you're going to get people hooked. All kinds of opportunities, both ends. I'm sure if you're Craig Berube, you're hoping right now, let's pump the brakes and slow this down to the pace we saw last night.
2-0 in favor of the Maple Leafs. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I don't want to say I'm a big deal, but I am a superhero. I love helping people consolidate their debts, and that's what I did for the Smiths. I took their bills and zoom, wha-bam, zap, turn them into one low monthly payment. No, the sound's not necessary, but it's part of the fun.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Hey everyone, Adney and Burke here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch the movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
One of the great sporting moments that I've enjoyed happened today at the Masters in the Par 3 tournament. Poppy McIlroy, who is, I believe, 4 or 5 years of age.
Oh, tops, yeah.
Yes. Was asked to putt this difficult 60-footer down a very steep embank. And she just touched the ball. And wouldn't you know it, with the coaching from her dad, that thing rolled and rolled and rolled and dropped into the hole. And I think she, with all of the noise that it created, she got scared and probably was in tears. But it was absolutely delightful as Stolars makes a save on a long shot and will cover up on it. It was absolutely brilliant. Just something you would... And I love that part about the Masters, when they have all of these little tykes running around in the suits that the caddies have to wear at Augusta. Really something.
I text my daughter that I was proud of her, but she never did that.
Played on it. Well, you wouldn't have been able to line the putt up for her anyway. What are you worried about?
I wouldn't have been there.
Played down into the Tampa Bay zone. Leafs into the forecheck with Nylander. That Yarncrook couldn't come up with it. Tavares chasing his man. Has it knocked off his stick, but Kucherov will play it ahead. That's going to go too far, but it will wave off icing as Point sends it back along the boards. Kucherov can't get there in time to keep it in, and Tavares is in over the line. He'll get a shot away. Blockered away there by Vasilevsky. Robertson unable to get it away from Point. Now Tampa Bay with 7:50 to go in the period. Send it into the Toronto end. Riley sweeping it around the boards. Robertson brings it back. Lost the handle on it. Robertson trying to free it up. Gets a third opportunity, then gives the puck away. Moser on the near half boards. Back to the left point. Shot coming, and it's deflected wide of the goal. And Robertson will get another opportunity to get it out. This time he does, and it is knocked away at the blue line, though, and now brought right back in again by Nicholas Paul. Paul working against Brandon Carlo. Carlo blocked the pass. Leafs trying to get it out, but fail. Against the boards, it is cleared back of the net. Carlo takes his man out of the play. Robertson in pursuit, but it comes back to the blue line. Over on the near side now for Perbix. His shot deflected wide. Puck is into the corner once more. All of this really stemming from Nick Robertson's inability to get the puck out the first time and get any kind of pressure going in the opposite end. And here the Lightning with it again with a shot. Stollers has to make a big save. Robertson in the far corner trying to dig it free, but can't. Off his stick, it comes back into the slot area. Another shot coming. Robertson blocked that, and then the rebound was fired wide. This horror show is really Nick Robertson's issue as the Leafs finally get it out and down into the Tampa Bay zone.
Well, the Leafs then had another opportunity to clear it after Robertson failed, but I'm sure for Nick Robertson, I mean, you're on the fourth line. I know you scored twice against Columbus, but you got to be much better in your own end.
Played down into the Toronto zone. Back of the net, Glendening got it around the boards. It goes into the far corner. Trying to work it free. It comes out on the point shot. That was off a body and wide. Another shot deflects wide of the net. Near side, the Leafs can't get to it. And then Kucherov has it turned over. And Pontus Holmberg skates it out at center. He's in over the line. And it goes for Lawton. And a backhand was stopped by Vasilevsky. Leafs have had as many good scoring chances as the Lightning, but have scored twice.
And Tampa's had longer stretches of offensive zone time. Not as many clean looks.
Leafs with it back in their own zone. Ahead it goes to Nyes. This line has the Leafs out in front 2-0. Nyes took down his man, but the Lightning get it back in. Another block there by Tanev, and he muscles it up on the boards, and Nyes can't get it out. Kept in by Gonzalez, who lost it, and it's poked out into the center ice by Matthews. Matthews almost stole it there. Back come the Lightning in over the line, but Tanev breaks up the rush. He'll work around back of the net, reverses the puck into the corner for Marner. Marner couldn't get it out. Pass into the slot area, didn't connect for the Lightning as it comes back to the point. Nyes failed to block it, and then Matthews is able to come up with it and get it ahead, and Nyes takes a drop pass and gets it in over the line. He'll play it down into the far corner, trying to punch it past Chernik. Marner got back to the point. No way to shoot it at the net. It's cleared in along the boards. Nyes getting it out for Tavares. His shot hit a leg. The Leafs are able to keep it in. Benoit trying to keep some zone time going here for the Maple Leafs with 4:20 to play in the period. Puck back to the point. Shot whistled wide of the net by Nylander.
Boy, he's missed twice from that area, blocker side.
Now here's Benoit in across the line. And Yarncrook couldn't split the defense. That's up on the wing, and out come the Lightning, led by Braden Point. Point in over the line, overskated the puck, but he drops it nicely, and it ends up being shot over top of the glass and out of play.
Boy, Willie Nylander overskated that last opportunity by Point as well. I don't think he expected the puck to go back. Leafs have had a number of chances off the rush. Well, the Tampa Bay Lightning had to have more shots through scrambles and traffic.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From shifting tariffs and trade policies.
We're seeing more turmoil in global stock markets.
To ongoing stock market volatility.
It's a very confusing time if you're trying to figure out what happens next.
The SiriusXM Business Channel offer in-depth, around-the-clock coverage of the financial markets, economic developments, and key business trends impacting your investments.
We're live at the New York Stock Exchange.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or trying to better understand what's moving the economy, SiriusXM brings the business world to you. Starting at Channel 112 and on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Marner and Nyes have scored the goals. The Maple Leafs have a 2-0 lead in the first period.
I've got shot attempts at 29-19 for Tampa. And that's what we were saying, where Tampa's had more offensive zone pressure. But the Leafs' opportunities, like the 2 goals, have come on quick darts.
And they've had 3 other real good scoring chances off the rush as well.
Holmberg, Domi to McMahon.
Played high by Tanev through center ice. Leafs unable to get to it initially. Backhanded then by Chaffee down into the Toronto zone. Tanev was bowled over from behind, has to go to regain his stick. The puck goes into the corner. Lorenz gets a hit in as it comes back to the point. Played in around back of the goal. The Leafs will punch it along the wall, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson can't get it out. Tanev knocks his man down. OEL with the puck now getting it up ahead, and it is or at least Lorenz getting it out at center ice. Lawton plays it back into his own zone. Leafs will play catch with it until they get the forward line exchange. Robertson gobbles it up on the left wing and works it on the wing and got a shot away. It was a pad save. Looked like it was going wide anyway. And Vasilevsky decides to hang on to stop play and bring a face-off in the Tampa Bay zone.
Willie Nylander's had a couple of great opportunities as well, Joe, in this game. And even though the shots on goal favor the Leafs 11-7, this is as uncomfortable a 2-0 lead, I think, as you could have.
Leafs have a 2-point lead over the Tampa Bay Lightning and a 4-point lead over the Florida Panthers. And Tampa Bay and the Maple Leafs each have 5 games remaining, including this one. No icing here as it's down into the Toronto end. Myers stops up. Now runs into a traffic jam with Point chasing him. Myers gets it up on the wing. The Leafs are going to get it out at center and down into Tampa Bay territory. Vasilevsky plays it around back of the net. Tampa Bay has got Detroit, Buffalo, Florida, and the Rangers still on the docket. The Maple Leafs have Montreal, Carolina, Buffalo, and Detroit yet to play, 2 of which are home games. Matthews back in his own zone. Got it ahead for Nyes. Skating room down the left wing to his liking. Dumps it into the near corner. Goes in around back of the net to play it around the boards. Marner centers. Comes back to the point. A shot. Looking for a redirect there was Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but it went wide. Matthews on the far half board centers. And Nyes failed to get a stick in the way of that. Kept in by OEL. Marner steals back into the corner for Nye. Back to Marner, just out of his reach. Marner in the far corner to Matthews. Back to the point. OEL with it again, a shot. That didn't make it through. Puck is bouncing and cleared out and down the ice. Canov in a foot race here is going to win it against Gonzalez as they go into the corner after the loose puck. Hack, whack, and slash in there as OEL is looking for a loose puck to materialize. And when it does, Marner plays it off the glass to center ice. Tavares was stood up with a pretty good hit from Lilleberg. Minute 25 to go in the first period. 2-0 Toronto. Played in by Carlo. Around the boards, it's punched by the Lightning to get it out at center. To the line, unable to get it in cleanly was Hagel the first time, now brought in, and a wrist shot by Cirelli was off a leg. Back to the point, a shot, scores! Nick Perbix from the point. And the Lightning get a late goal with 1:02 to go in the period. It's 2-1.
Leafs really concede the blue line too easily, Joe. As you had Morgan Riley was back with Willie Nylander, and they just concede. There's a scramble outside the blue line, and they just collapse back into their own zone and never get the puck back. I don't know if the Leaf coaching staff is looking at something here. I don't think there's any goalie interference in front. Brandon Carlo is with the Tampa player helping provide the screen. But this is a play you could have battled at the blue line for possession, and you just collapsed back and gave the Lightning some free ice.
So it is 2-1. Now brought in over the line by Chaffee. Works to the left wing side, played it back to the net. Benoit freed it up. Leafs have some room, and it is outlet on the right wing side for Lorenz. He'll get it down into the zone and one-handed around back of the net. Holmberg couldn't reach it in time, and the Lightning have played it out at center ice. Knocked to the far boards. That's an offside. No, waved off by the linesman, and it's into the corner. The linesmen are Matt McPherson and C.J. Murray. McPherson was with us when the Leafs were in Florida last night, as was Jean Hebert, one of the referees. Brandon Blandini is the other official. Down into the Tampa Bay zone with 12 seconds left now in the period. Puck up against the end boards. Domi was knocked down. Lightning bring it out with 6 seconds left. They'll flip it towards the net. It's wide, out of the goal. Punching it back into the corner was Stolarz, and time runs out.
Now, very interesting, Joe, that at the last shift of the period, you had Max Domi out with Nick Robertson and Bobby McMahon. And that trio has had some success offensively this year, but Greg Bube, I don't know if he's saying, look, we're in a track meet. We better put our best runners out. But the Leafs get 2 early. Tampa gets 1 late.
The Leafs get 11 shots on goal at 8 for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and get an early 2-0 lead on goals from Marner and Nyes. Perbix scoring with 1:02 to go in the period, and it is 2-1 after 20 minutes. We've got Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart standing by. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs radio networks.
As a sports fan, I just want the games. Right now, it's practically a full-time job to figure out which bundle I need. But with the SiriusXM app, it's done the bundling for me.
It is gone, a grand slam!
I don't have to go anywhere else to get every MLB, NFL, NBA, and NHL game. When there's a college game on, I just search for the school on the SiriusXM app.
Holy smokes, what a play!
With the all-access plan in the SiriusXM app, I've got the sports world in the palm of my hand.
To the end zone, touchdown!
No bundle required.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
The broadcast scheduled to air at this time on this channel is temporarily unavailable. We're working to restore the scheduled broadcast. The show
early on for Tampa Bay, some turnovers in their own zone.
Yeah, that resulted in the goals, but they kept giving Toronto the easy access into their zone. You've got to protect that blue line better, especially against a team like Toronto. They had bad luck, no question about it. With the 4 goal posts, a couple of crossbars, a goal post. They play the man more in the offensive zone than they do in their defensive zone. It's the Tinkerbell defense here, but you got to make it a lot tougher to get in your zone. I mean, I thought they played well when they had the puck. They did a pretty good job of puck retrieval and stayed in that zone a little bit. The other few games, those shots were going in. Tonight, they hit the crossbar and they hit the goalpost. But they got to tighten up the defensive end of the game.
E, how did you see that first period?
Did not start on their toes.
Yeah.
Those 2 turnovers, especially the first one. Toronto was jumping on those cross-ice passes coming out of the zone. You have to be aware of that. It happened, a couple of times in that period, and I think Matthews was on the end of them both times and kind of reading the play.
100 points has the opening goal.
Oh, a wild first period. 2-1, the Leafs lead over Tampa after 20 minutes of play. TSN After 20 brought to you by Subaru. Hurry to the all-in-one event for great offers and experience all the features that come standard in a Subaru. Stu, that could be 4-4 after 1, quite frankly, right? So many chances.
Yeah, throw my analysts out of the window here talking about it. It's not going to be a back and forth game. It's going to be another tight checky game and waiting for their opportunities. And Toronto came out of the gate really, really strong, getting in on the forecheck, turning pucks over, and a beautiful shot by Mitch Marner. And we've discussed it often on this program and other programs. With that shot, can he maybe score 50 goals in this league? But great goal for his 25th of the year. And a couple of minutes later, Matthew Nyes cleans up an Austin Matthews Matthew Nyes rebound for his 27th. So it was a great start for Toronto. They responded well after coming out flat against the Florida Panthers, and they found a way to respond. And I'm just if they can get out of this period, maybe it'll be good to set them up. And then boom, Perbix scores his 6th of the year with a minute 2 left in the period. So a good response from Toronto from last night. It was a good solid period. All 4 lines were going. All 4 lines were getting involved. You saw, Domi almost score a goal. Lawton almost had his second as a Toronto Maple Leaf. A lot of players were getting involved, and that's why they had success and essentially carried 18 out of those 20 minutes of that first period. Just everybody was getting involved, a good team effort, and see if they could continue that for the final 40.
And it's going to show up nowhere on any stat sheet, but Tampa with 4 posts in that period.
Yeah, 3 and 1. Yeah, 1 power play, I think it was, right? But it just goes back to Stolarz being so big in that crease where it seems like you almost have to make the perfect shot to beat him. And he did get beat, but there was 2 or 3 bodies, and Carlo was literally right in front of his eyesight. He did not see that puck go into the net. But when a goalie is that big, you almost have to adjust the flight pattern of your shot. You almost have to drag it a little bit more, aim a little bit tighter, and that's what happens. And when you're trying to pick a corner, you're going to hit those posts. But as you mentioned, it easily could have been 4-4 back and forth, and it's entertaining. I don't think it's Craig Berube hockey, but I think they'll take it being up 1 on the road.
So let me throw a theory at you. When we talked about last night's game, it was how the Panthers were relentless in their forecheck and how they pressured the Leafs and kept them in their zone. Tonight, and I go back to the last time the Leafs played Florida where they won that game. They created all their space in that game and in this one at the start with offensive pressure, didn't they?
Yeah, they were getting in on the forecheck, and it reminds me almost of that New York Ranger game that it just there were 2 or 3 goals in the first half of that first period, and I think it starts with Toronto's exit where they're getting bucks back to pucks quicker and exiting out the zone, and not necessarily stretching, but their guys sort of going and getting in, on offense, and it starts with just getting in and having a motor, being on your toes, anticipating, having good sticks and lanes. So they almost look like the Florida Panthers did last night against themselves, and I'm sure they probably did a couple of video sessions and, again, a lot more energy, but I think it wasn't just one line. You had opportunities. I forgot to mention the shot that Bobby McMahon almost put in as well. So it was a good 4 solid lines. I'm sure Craig Bube wants a little bit more tighter checking in that final minute of the period, but I'll take it. If I'm him, I'll take it as you're setting yourself up for a pretty decent final 2 frames.
I think it's rare that you would see a game, a high-event period like that for 2 teams that so much is at stake. It's fun to watch, I got to say, but it is rare.
It is rare, but, at this point of the season, I think it's more so about the process, right? And if you had to figure out, if you're going to lose, you might as well lose getting in and moving your feet. But I'm sure Craig Berube had a spirited pregame speech where, his players are known to jump through a wall for him, right? Because he gets them motivated, and I'm sure there may or may not have been a couple expletives. But, when he's saying, hey, you guys got to get going, you got to make sure you're getting going. So it doesn't make sense to say, hey, yeah, we're going to get going by sitting back and playing a 1995 trap. It's, hey, we're going through the glass and we're getting involved early. But the big guns played pretty good. A great shot by Marner, as I mentioned before. Same thing with Nyes. It's just continue to pepper, Vasilevsky, he's looking a little bit human, right? Shots are 10-8 after 1. And again, I think if you get 30 to 35 shots, you're setting yourself up for a pretty decent result.
Yeah, so the Leafs with 10 on goal, 21 attempts, and Tampa had 25 that missed and 8 that got through. So that's a pretty interesting total. They had a lot more opportunity than the Leafs did, although that doesn't make sense to the eye test.
Yeah, Tampa Bay doing their impression of Paul missed the net, right? They're just firing at will.
Was awesome.
Yeah, and you see. You saw yesterday with Florida Panthers, they were just they're going to play the volume game, right? They're trying to catch maybe Stolar sleeping or catch him maybe deep into his crease there. So I think they're going to play that volume. But I think ultimately what they're trying to do is set up that second and third shot. They know that Toronto is great at defending that interior. So they're like, hey, you know what? Let's shoot it. Maybe it'll pop out to an open area because you're not necessarily going to beat him clean. So they're just saying, let's put it in his path. Let's try to get those second and third opportunities. But it's very, very tough. So though I don't think the attempt tell that great of a story. I think that was Toronto's period when it's all said and done.
So, I mean, you have the rah-rah today to bounce back from last night. You want to start a certain way, and you have success, but then the game just sort of evolves in a rapid fashion after that. So I don't know that anybody would have expected the period to progress as it did. How do you sort of adjust in the second period to maintain what you're doing or maybe add to it?
Well, sometimes the game is the game, right? And you have your game plan, and everyone has a game plan until you're punched in the mouth, and sometimes it just evolves to what it is. So if I'm Toronto, I think it just, yes, it is an open-ended game, but again, have a good F3. I noticed Riley did pinch on that last goal. 2 or 3 things happened after that, but again, just manage the puck a little bit better, play a simplistic game, and do your best, and hopefully you're going to get the goaltending. Looks like it's going to be a good second period for the Maple Leafs.
Leafs lead at 2-1. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
For the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Jan owns a home and a restaurant fusing French and Mexican cuisine. But she is fusing no more because her ovens have gone kaput. She called Alpine Credits, who sent their speedy superhero. With her business loan approved, her ovens were quickly fixed. The hero even had some of her poutine nachos. Yum! Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
At Great Wolf Lodge, your whole family can go on an adventure. Splash away in our water park and bowl a perfect score with your pack. And mix game time with family time. And at Great Wolf Lodge, all this excitement is just a short drive away. So bring the pack together and learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack.
Your sneakers are staring directly at you. You try to look away, but you can't. You're laced to face. They're saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, and your six-pack won't be either. But you've got to start somewhere. Stop staring. Put us on. Take that first step, or lunge, or squat. Start small. Start somewhere. Join for $7.99 every 2 weeks at fitforless.ca and experience fitness simplified. Some conditions apply. Fit for Less. Everybody happy.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.ca/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one. Licensed where work is performed. See website for details.
The Out-of-Town Scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. You don't have to go to town for a great new Tundra RAV4 gas or hybrid. Maple Toyota has them in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. One other game in progress. Rangers 1-0 over the Flyers midway through the first period. And the relevance of that is the Rangers, Detroit, Islanders, and Columbus, all 8 points behind Montreal, all have 5 games left. The Habs have 4. So one of those teams has to win out, and the Habs have to get the emergency break frozen in order for that to change. 1-0, Rangers over the Flyers. Other action, it is the Sharks and Wild at 8 o'clock, just getting set to start. Calgary's in Anaheim at 10 o'clock. St. Louis and Edmonton also at 10 o'clock. And our game leaves 2-1 over Tampa after 20 minutes of play. Oh, yes, Guy, the second period is next. Moles and Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeart Radio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Give the new spring era retro kick with an all-new classic vinyl spring mix on the SiriusXM app. Featuring timeless classics from the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and ELO. To feel-good anthems by Elton John, Bruce Springsteen, U2, and more. Bring this season to life with the classic vinyl.
Cheers, hockey fans, Maple Leafs fans, maybe some Lightning fans in the chat, maybe. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. Now's the time of the show. Please let us know where you're watching from in the chat. Let us know your city and province, city and state, city and country flag emoji. How about that one? I want to see lots of Canadian flags in here tonight as we're representing Canada over the Lightning. Come on, we got to get this win tonight, team. As well, please check out our brand new website, www.torontosportsinsider.com, and check out the awesome new merch that we have there. And you can let us know where you're watching from with our cool new map feature as well. Go Leafs go! Thanks for checking out our new website, and a huge shout out to Level Up SEO. Thank you guys. Can't wait to hang out with you tonight. Cheers everybody. Go Leafs go. We'll see you back in the chat.
Congratulations to Alexander Ovechkin. Welcome to Hockey Immortality from everyone at SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM NHL Network Radio puts you on the ice.
If the Rangers get into the playoffs, Igor Shesterkin should win the Hart Trophy, because what is going on in front of him is an absolute miracle. They're within a mile of this playoff run.
The reason you are inconsistent is because you're consistently inconsistent. That's why they are not Tampa, Florida, Washington. I'm not buying it. What's that song? I won't be fooled again.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate. Weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Into neutral ice and brought into the zone by Braden Point. Point looking for Kucherov. Gets it to him in the corner, swept it towards the front of the net. That was blocked by the Maple Leafs, and now Nylander looks for an open ice, tried to flip it ahead, but he hit Yarncrook right in the seat of the pants. Back come the Lightning in over the line. Kucherov into the right side for Point. He drops it back, and a shot went whistling wide. Near side for Hedman. Hedman shot knocked down in front of the net. Kucherov was on the doorstep, but couldn't outfight Tanev for the puck, and the Leafs failed to get it out again. Now Nylander one-hands it and doesn't get it out a third time. Kept alive and fed into the corner. Played up on the wing and finally out and down the ice, but it's off a body, so there'll be no icing. Boy, a battle for a foot of ice has got to be won with more than just a one-handed flip.
Yeah, both teams have been guilty of turnovers right at their own line.
Cirelli shoots it into the Toronto zone. Riley up against the boards. The puck comes back into the slot area. Left point for McDonough. His shot rebound. Shot wide of the goal by Cirelli in the slot area. Leafs don't get the handle on the puck, and it's back in behind the net. Round on the boards to the near side. McDonough will keep it in. Chipped around back to the far side. Another shot goes high and wide onto the left wing side for McDonough once more. McDonough trying to outfight Marner for the puck. Matthews gets to it, played it back into the corner. Marner was knocked down on the play, and now here's Matthews stick handling his way out of trouble at center. He gets to the line in on the left wing. Morgan Riley with a shot towards the front of the net, and that was handled easily by Vasilevsky. Shots are 10-8, make it 11-8 in favor of the Leafs as it's played in over the line. Benoit taking his man to the boards efficiently and knocking Hagel to the ice. Lawton will play it around back of the net, and the Leafs will bank it off the boards and get it to center, but no further. Shot right back in again by Mitchell Chaffee. Along the boards, Marner finds his defenseman. Benoit, bank pass ahead. Pontus Holmberg got it in over the line. A centering pass went by no one. Now grabbed off by the Leafs to the left point. A shot coming and is caught by Vasilevsky, but Lorenz is lifted off his feet by Perbix and deposited in the net, which apparently was not interference or tripping.
Well, you know what? I think you're fine with the non-call, except for the one penalty you've called in the game, which was marginal. Anthony Cirelli had a great opportunity but couldn't get it through a maze in front.
Hit Morgan Riley and went wide,
Morgan Riley got Mitch Marner. Cross-check from behind by Ryan McDonough.
Draw one by the Leafs, but it doesn't get back far enough to the point. Brought out at center, and the Leafs are able to take it away from the Tampa Bay player. And the Leafs will get it up on the wing and get it to center and in over the line on the left wing. A pass into the slot area, turned over, and the Lightning have it under control, and Navarre mailed it high to center ice. Knocked down there by OEL, and it is Domi regrouping the puck now to Tanev. Tanev ahead at center, doesn't get it into the zone. Against the boards is Robertson. Back for Tanev, over for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. OEL taking his time as the Leafs are getting a change up front. And the pass comes ahead into neutral ice. And Matthews circles back in his own zone. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with it again. Back up to Marner. Marner flipping it in on the right side for Nyes. Nyes forces the puck down into the corner. Round on the boards, it'll come to the far wing, but the Lightning are there to get it out. And they get it through center, and a shot deflects off Morgan Riley and has cleared the glass and gone out of play with a face-off coming in the Toronto zone as a result. 2-1 Leafs all of the scoring in the first period as Marner and Nyes got the Leafs on the board early.
Give a quick shout out to Ken Vardy, golf pro that's listening from down in Florida, King Valley.
Nice.
I was there when he quit teaching.
Do you have anything to do with it?
Never really said anything as he left.
he took one look at your golf swing and said, I can't do this here. Here are the Leafs breaking in on the right side, but Marner! And he ripped it high and wide of the goal.
Boy, there was
and it's
room.
Gone up into the screen.
Remember, he had the opportunity last night against Sergei Bobrovsky. Same thing coming down the right wing side. Now there's you'll like this old saying where you say my golf pro is also my therapist.
Yeah.
I don't play any better, but now I blame my father.
That shot went off the shaft of the stick of Vasilevsky, or it's 3-0.
Marner's got the Gretzky slap shot, doesn't he?
Yeah, you
not
don't.
Hard.
Yep. A shot, a big rebound off a save by Vasilevsky. Shot taken by Tanev. And it's flipped to the Toronto blue line, and a bouncing puck in the slot rolled in and had to be scooped aside by Anthony Stolarz. Yarncrook battling on the boards, can't get it out. Here's Point trying to get it back to the blue line, and a shot coming from Hedman went wide of the goal. Kept in on the far boards by Moser. Moser works back to the blue line with a shot that goes off a body in front. Tanev was hooked to the ice without a call. Puck into the slot area, and it is taken back of the net by Yarncrook, who finds Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who tried to find Tavares but failed. Following up on the play is Yarncrook. He gets it to Tavares. Tavares can't shoot it. Nylander's gone to the front of the net. Tavares still with the puck. Back to the point. Benoit trying to play it in. 3 Leafs collide right in front of the bench. 2 of them go to the ice. Lightning with the puck. They get it ahead to the line and in. A drop pass and a wrist shot is gloved by Anthony Stolarz. And he's going to stop play and bring a face-off in the Toronto zone.
Well, it looks like the line combinations that have been switched up, Joe, as Kelly Yarncroc has moved up to play with Tavares and Willie Nylander. Nick Robertson has moved up to be reunited with Max Domi and Bobby McMahon. So you've got Lorenz, Yarncroc, and now Scott Lawton back on the fourth line together.
Holmberg, Tavares, and Benoit all colliding right in front of the Leaf bench as the change was being made. Brought in over the line by Yanni Gourde. He drops it back. Kucherov got it into the goal crease, and Stolarz was looking behind him. But it comes out, and the Leafs have it through center. Brought in over the line now by Lawton. Stops up at the half boards. Tried to send it in, but it was blocked. And out come the Lightning at center ice. Gourde gets it in on the right side and goes to the front of the net. The drop pass comes into the slot. Unable to shoot at point. And then it was dropped off, and Kucherov's shot went well wide. Cleared into the corner. Lightning into the attack again. Back to the point to Hedman. Hedman drops it into the slot, and a whistling shot by Kucherov went wide. Leafs trying to work it up the boards, and it is to the line, and Lorenz fails to get it over center. Back come the Lightning into the corner again. Kucherov around back of the net trying to center off the skate there of Myers. Myers jams his man to the boards. Puck dug out by Lawton, but unable to play it up on the wing, and when they do, they finally get it out at center. But the Leafs, it's a battle just to get the puck out of their own end. Cirelli playing it around the boards, and now the Leafs break it out at center. Pontus Holmberg just laying it into the corner, trying to get around the defenseman Gonsalves, and it goes into the near corner in the Lightning zone. Out they come. Gonsalves in across the line. Had to go off a stick. Leaf player loses his cue, but the Leafs are able to get the puck out at center, and now a little flip pass for Domi. Didn't connect. Hedman quickly back the other way. Backing in over the line was Gonsalves. A pass goes off a skate into the corner. Centered again in front of the net. Trying to go to the goal. The backhand is sent wide of the goal. Robertson may have saved a goal there by just getting a body in the way. Cirelli to the right wing side. More pressure coming here from Tampa Bay. On to the left wing point. Lilleberg Can't get it in front, and Robertson is able to free it up. And it is launched down into Tampa Bay territory to allow the Leafs to change. But the pressure maintains itself. Right back in for Bjorkstrand. Down in around back of the net for Nick Paul. Paul loses it. The Leafs get a hold of it. On comes Nyes. He's going to flip it into the left wing corner, and Matthews has skated well here in this period. Gets it back with a pass in front of the net, and Matthews couldn't settle it. It's cleared back out at center ice. Paul will shoot it into the Toronto end.
Really offensively, Joe, other than the Matthews line, there's been very little from the other three lines for any kind of offensive pressure.
Lead pass by Morgan Rielly went astray. Gobbled up by Toronto and maintained momentarily by Marner. Then he had it knocked away, and he's able to regroup it back with Chris Tanev. Tanev goes D to D, and it'll be played by OEL out at center ice and down into Tampa Bay territory with changes coming. 11:46 to play in the second period. The Leafs hanging on to a 2-1 lead as Kucherov gets it into the far corner. A knock off a stick and cleared by the Leafs back to Tampa Bay territory. Radish in on the left wing for Point. Point spins, taken to the boards. Puck dug out by the Maple Leafs and played ahead for Nylander, and quickly up on the left wing. Benoit drills it into the chest of Vasilevsky. He got all of it.
And you don't mind that play. It's a 2-on-1 break. But I would trust Simon Benoit winding up and hammering up more than trying to feather a pass to a Tampa defenseman to Willie Nylander in the right wing side.
Leafs hanging on to a 2-1 lead in the second period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you, with Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. They are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They could help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-288-4991. That's 1-800-288-4991. Let Consolidated Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-288-4991. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-288-4991. Ontario license number 4705786.
Leafs 2, Tampa Bay 1. Second period.
It really, I mean, he said it when it was 2-0. It was not a comfortable 2-0 lead. And I would say you've got the same feeling here midway through the second period, up by 1.
Well, one-goal games have been pretty good to the Leafs this year. They're 19-4-4. Last year, they were 19-6-10.
Now, how many of those one-goal games
turned into?
Well, but because of empty netter.
Yeah. So I don't think technically it can be a one-goal game, can it?
No.
Leafs steal the puck, but pass just kept in there by Tavares at the blue line. Around back of the net, Nylander couldn't get to it, and now the Lightning have it out at center ice on the left wing side. Lilleberg gets it into the zone, goes in there after it. The puck comes around the wall, not out, chopped by Nylander. It'll go to Yarncrook. Yarncrook will get to center and shoot it in, rubbed out on the boards right at the Toronto bench. Round back of the net. Lilleberg gets it ahead. Paul onto the right wing side. Long shoot in, goes wide of the Leaf goal. Shots are 15-10 favoring Toronto. But zone time definitely favoring as a shot swallowed up by Stolars is stopped. And some shoving in front of the net as the Leafs clear house, with Bjorkstrand being dispatched rather vociferously.
So the way things are going for the Leafs, they're trying to beat Tampa here to finish ahead of the Tampa Bay Lightning and go 4-0 against Tampa on the season. But they could probably play the Florida Panthers, who they're 1-3 against, or the Ottawa Senators, who they're 0-3 against. That's why this game's so important. If you believe.
You know what, Mr. Ralph? You confuse the issue with mathematics.
Yeah.
And you know we're not good at that. We just aren't.
But next week, I'm going to reverse all this.
Oh, you are? Yeah. Oh, good. All right. Played out at center.
What a great victory that'll be.
Hey, the Montreal Canadiens are still in the mix the way they've been going as it rolls in on Stolars.
Yeah, there's an outside chance it gets Ottawa. I think they're 3 or 4 back. The Ottawa Senators taking a quick look at this.
They are
3 points
3
back
points. Yep.
And even game.
Yep. Face off in the Toronto zone.
They play each other once more before the end of the season.
And the Leafs, of course, play Montreal
Saturday.
Next on Saturday night. Played to the line, but Point is able to keep it in. Sends it around back of the net. Swept by Gourde to the far wing. It goes back into the corner. Centering pass in front. Doesn't make it. Then a shot was blocked. And Lorenz trying to get it out, but fails. And now it trickles past Hedman and goes all the way down into Tampa Bay territory. Lightning get it to the line, and they get it in again. Here's Point. Sending it around back onto the far point. It'll be trapped and now into the slot for Hedman. Shot. Block. Rebound. Shot high and wide of the Leafs goal. 9:26 to play in the period. Another set of pressure coming here from Tampa, who are just hemming the Leafs in. Back to the point. Hedman one times. Off his stick and up into the screen and out of play.
Now, I don't know if this is just a line change that is late, but Simon Benoit out with Brandon Carlo. And oh boy, that was Scott Lawton, Joe. Looked like an empty net for the Lightning, Yanni Gourde. Scott Lawton got a stick on it before it reached the goal.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Rafinha!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history!
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not, and then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the Sirius XM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable. Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Just search for your favorite club.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The statue, or not the statue, but the monument that is there, it is just an absolute breathtaking thing to see. Here the Lightning in with a shot from a sharp angle, and Stolars is able to cover up on that and will stop play to bring a face-off in the Toronto zone.
This does not feel like a great period for the Leafs, does it? I don't know if I can remember any offensive zone time.
No,
where they've passed the puck around and pressured Tampa. They've had some opportunities off the rush.
And they still are out shooting Tampa Bay 15-14, but that has absolutely no bearing on what you've watched, does it? The Leafs have been like a great counter-punching boxer. Rope-a-dope, and then strike. And they have for a 2-1 lead. Here's Nyes over the line. This is the one line that has provided some offense for the Leafs. Matthews back at the net in front for Nyes, and it was blocked. Leafs keep it in with a good play from Benoit. Into the slot, Matthews. Shot blocked. Benoit able to keep it in. Down into the far corner, Nyes unable to get there ahead of Chernik, who got it up on the left wing. And now here's McDonough sending it down into the Toronto end. Boy, what a welcome back addition McDonough has been for the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. On the left wing side, he brings it in again. Got it into the right wing corner. Lightning get it back to the point. Just kept in there as it's backhanded around back of the net. Consalves had it stripped away. Matthews throws a pizza up the middle, but it's onto the stick of McMahon. McMahon gets in over the line. He gets a shot that went off the glove of Vasilevsky and up into the screen and out of play.
I like that, though. McMahon kind of pulls up at the right wing boards, and instead of trying to make a high-risk pass across the slot, figures if I can get it to the net, I will. And that seemed to surprise Vasilevsky, who just gets his glove on a shot that appeared to be heading short side.
But there's no question the Leafs, if they get a look at the net, are going blocker side high.
For both goals, well, Nyes was a rebound off a low blocker shot from Matthews.
Face off in the Lightning zone, controlled by Tampa Bay. A long lead pass has gone astray, but it went off a body, so there's no icing. And Tanev gets back there first to play it on the boards and get it out at center. McMahon dragging the puck in over the line, but it went in behind him. And the linesman has called this offside.
Are you surprised that the line combination's being changed? I did think, although it didn't happen for 2 games, that Nick Robertson would be moved back up to the third line. But it appears now it's Yarncroc in for McMahon, and McMahon back with Domi and Nick Robertson.
No, I don't think I'd be surprised. Blocked shots. Tampa Bay has blocked 7. The Maple Leafs have blocked 25.
Wow. Well, there you go. That screws up the shots on goal totals.
No, it tells you the story of the period, doesn't it? Played back to the point. Tampa Bay keeping it in. Hedman to the point. Another shot went wide. Rebound. Chipped off the glass. And backhanded to the line and out. Here's a 2-on-1 developing. Pontus Holmberg in with a backhand try. Steered wide by Vasilevsky. Leafs keep it in. Not sure if that was directed at the net intentionally or if they were looking to try and get it. And we get an icing call here against Tampa.
I think maybe at the end, Holmberg just wanted to get it to the net. Maybe look for a rebound or something off a skate. Downside for Holmberg, left-handed shot on the right wing side, is that your options are kind of limited with a guy closing in on you. So he just sort of dumped that backhand into the feet of Vasilevsky, who turned it aside with Scott Lawton charging, looking for a rebound.
Leafs keep the puck in at the blue line. A shot by Myers went high and wide of the goal. Kept in by Robertson. McMahon had it in his skates, couldn't control it. Lightning get it out. But Riley is there, and he'll go rink wide to find Domi, who just deflects it into the zone. Chances at goal, the numbers are staggering. $59 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. 31 for the Maple Leafs. That's without taking my shoes off. Played up on the wing. Thank goodness.
If 31 goes, I'd be a little worried.
Oh, yeah. The air in this studio probably doesn't circulate well enough to have that happen. Here the Lightning bringing it back in across the line. They get it down into the near corner. Play it around the boards to the left wing side. And now Tavares starts out of his own end. Tavares through neutral ice and in over the line on his backhand. Goes to the forehand and just had it knocked away. Leafs have not had a power play in this game. Tampa Bay has had one. Played into the Toronto zone. But how? One of the things that you have to really be impressed with is despite the zone time, the Maple Leafs have maintained their discipline. They've not taken penalties. Matthews now in the offensive zone. Nyes gets it back to the blue line. A Tanev pass goes into the far corner, but no one there. And Hagel gets it out at center ice, and the Leafs will flip it right back in again. Nyes goes in along the boards. He's third in hits this season as far as forwards are concerned. And back come the Lightning. Gonzalez in across the line on his backhand. Gets it off onto the left wing side. Good block there by the Leafs. And it's brought back by Marner. Marner dropping it off. Riley got it ahead for Matthews. Matthews on the left wing into the slot. And the pass was just behind Nyes. And he couldn't reach back to control it. Marner has secured the puck in the center ice area. Leafs 2. And the Tampa Bay Lightning 1. And the Lightning with the puck in their own end get it ahead. Here's Kucherov in on the left wing. Gets it into the slot. And another block, this time from Benoit. The puck is into the corner. Point trying to stop up there, loses it. And the Maple Leafs are going to get it airmailed high into neutral ice. A bouncing puck that is grabbed off by Steven Lorenz. Lorenz cycles the puck into the corner for Pontus Holmberg, but it was out of his reach. And the Lightning are quickly back out into the center ice area. Played to the Leaf blue line. Onto the left wing side. That looked like it was way offside. But the puck goes down into the corner. And the Leafs have it anyway. Did you think that was onside?
Well, it was kind of that long pass across the blue line, wasn't it?
Yeah. OEL gets it ahead. Leafs don't get it into the zone. Now they do as it's poked in there by Lorenz. Played into the corner. McMahon gets a piece of his man. Domi unable to get to the puck. Myers kept it in momentarily. 3:25 left to play in the period. No scoring in this second frame so far. All of it in the first. A 2-1 Toronto lead. Domi launches it out and down the ice and won't have enough for icing because Robertson's hustle got to it. But he can't come up with the puck. And it is played ahead by Nicholas Paul down into the Leaf end. Round back of the net it goes. Leafs play it off the boards to the line. Kicked along the boards by Paul. Leafs defense has it as they regroup. And Tanev will get it ahead. Did that hit anybody? Doesn't matter. It's gone on to the goal. And Vasilevsky scoops it aside. Back come the Lightning again. Bjorkstrand in. Drop pass. Shot. Block. Where's the puck? Well, it's gone up into the screen, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was Brandon Carlo that sprawled and got a piece of that one. But boy, Nikita Kucherov comes very close to tying things up again, but Simon Benoit with a great shot block right before that.
If you're one of the Leaf defenders, you're going to need some ice packs after this one. The block shot total is ridiculous. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
Joe and Lucy needed a new roof and reached out to Alpine Credits. I flew over to help them with a home renovation loan. I suggested they transform their house into a giant robot head. Beams that shoot from the eyes. Pew, pew. Instead, they just went with shingles. But it's pretty glorious.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved.
Just for license 12616.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be.
What's up, insiders? Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight for the Leafs and the Lightning. Please take a second during the intermission to check out our new merch options. We're finally up and running on our new website. Big shout out to Level Up SEO. Thank you guys for getting that website looking as cool as it is. Check it out. All of our new merch, if you click the product in the YouTube Live, it'll take you there, and then you can head over to our live viewers tab and see where the rest of the world is watching from live, hanging out with us during the Leafs and the Lightning. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for checking out the merch, and let me know. I'm open to feedback. What do you like? What do you don't like? What would you like to see better? Go Leafs, go! Thank you. We'll see you back in the chat.
Second game of back-to-backs this year, and if you were going to wager on someone scoring a goal, you might want to put a wager down on John Tavares, who has scored 17 times this year.
17 points.
17 points, right? And the second game of the back-to-back.
Yep. 10-7 and 7.
Puck in the center ice area. Tavares fights it off to get it back to Riley. Riley snaps it ahead. That went off the stick of Yarncrook into the zone. 2:25 to go. Brought out from around back to the net by Nick Perbix, who gets it up on the wing, but not into the zone. Here's Yarncrook carrying back in the other way. Dropping in a shot by Nylander, and he had Vasilevsky looking behind him there for just a second.
Wait,
but it got caught in the equipment.
That was the same as the Benoit shot. Vasilevsky was just able to clamp it with his right elbow against his side, blocker's side. Nice little play by John Tavares to Yarncrook, who took it deep down the right wing boards into the Tampa zone and then threw it back to the top of the circle for Willie Nylander, who one-times it. Yeah, that very nearly.
Nylander trying to get to the 50-goal plateau, but he's going to have quite a rush in the last bit of this season to do it, although he has scored in bunches before.
Vince Marner is now at 96 points on the season. Twice he's gotten to 99.
Draw to the left of Vasilevsky. Scrummed but controlled by Tampa Bay. A pass up the middle, gets out at center ice, played in over the line by Gonsalves, but the Leafs are able to punch it back out and then get it in over the line. Here's Nyes going after it into the corner. Got a piece of his man. Matthews tried to strip it, did so to get it to Marner. Marner working back towards the blue line, still with it. Tried to send it towards the front of the net, but it was blocked. He was able to keep it in momentarily, but it is played now by the Lightning down the ice. Minute 37 to go in the period.
Leafs have got to play this like the last minute and a half of the game.
Played ahead by, that wasn't what was ordered. Tanev fanning on a shot, and then a wrist shot wired high and wide, goes into the screen.
Wow.
Why don't you just be quiet over there?
Well, I don't think you want to do that at any time of the game.
I agree. He loaded up a pass and completely whiffed it. Went right over top of the puck.
Did I mention my golf pro is?
Yes, you did. Yeah. Speaking of whiffs,
I know.
Did he ever try to fix that for you?
Well, he's in Florida right now, so I should give you a hint.
Leafs win the face-off, play it up on the wing. Lorenz didn't get it out, kicked ahead then for Lawton, who lost it, and it rolls back towards the net and went wide. Point. Got to get back to the point. Long shot that was knocked away. Kucherov in the corner. Twisting and turning. Comes out of it. Back to the point to Hedman. A shot. Knocked down by the glove of Stolarz. And then the net is drilled. And there's going to be a penalty here to Toronto.
Well, interference is the call. But the Leafs, again, the inability to get the puck out and make plays have cost him. And is it John Tavares going? This time it was Scott Lawton that had the puck kicked to him from Brandon Carlo, and then Lawton basically just kicked it back towards his own net. And then the big scrum. And Anthony Stolarz gloved a shot from the point, but couldn't hold it in a sketchy glove.
I think it's Lawton who's going to get the penalty.
Yeah, interference is the call, so you lose one of your penalty killers on this as well.
Second power play for Tampa Bay. Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. Leafs have not had a power play in the game. Draw to the right. Under a minute to go in the period. And it's going to be wired off the boards and sent out and down the ice by the Maple Leafs. So the intermission will dissect this. Hedman dropping it back. Brought in over the line by Braden Point into the corner. Kucherov sends it around the boards. It'll find Cirelli. Cirelli along the left wing boards. Plays it back to the point to Hedman. Hedman goes over on the far side. Kucherov trying to center. Goes back to Cirelli. Now to Hedman. Off the stick of Marner. 25 seconds left and a wrist shot. Knocked down in front. Played to the side of the goal. It's right in front of the net. And the Leafs are going to get a break. Just dribbling it out into the center ice area. 14 seconds left in the period. Hedman to the line. Off a stick. Kicked ahead and batted and just cleared into neutral ice with 5 seconds left. Back comes Hedman in over the line. He'll get a long shot in on Stolarz, who reads the clock well, throwing the puck into the corner to end a scoreless second period. And miraculously, the Maple Leafs hold a 2-1 lead heading to the third.
More miraculously, as shots on goal were just 10-9 Tampa when things settled down. I don't know about you, but watching this game, broadcasting it, feeling it, it feels like they're down 3-1 and holding on, looking for a reason to get back into it. And Tampa really, we talked about how the Leafs had outscored Tampa 9-1. It was a 9-1 or 10-1
in
the previous 3 games between these two clubs. But that second period was owned by the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Leafs very fortunate to still be up by 1.
10-8 are the shots. But attempts blocked, 31 for the Leafs. Missed shots, 22 for Tampa Bay. Yeah, it was very much, as far as the territory is concerned, dominated by the Lightning through the first 40 minutes. But the good news is the Leafs have a 2-1 lead. We'll step aside for Anthony Stewart joining Jim Taddy. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
What is up, Daddy Gang? It is your founding father, Alex Cooper. I am so excited for you guys to hear Unwell On Air, your one-stop destination for all things trending, curated by me. All of your favorite content from the Unwell Network, plus exclusive new live shows that keep you in the know. We're breaking down the latest in pop culture and opening up the phone lines because I want you to join the conversation. Oh my God, let's go. Unwell On Air, exclusively on the SiriusXM app.
We deliver the NHL.
And I just wonder, Berkey, what your thoughts are on the Capitals. They are Exhibit A as to why a retool can work.
Yes, but it's early. Haven't had a playoff run yet. A lot of people taking bows right now that shouldn't be. I really like this coach. And Chris Patrick, the GM, has done a real nice job. It is a retool, right? And the goaltending's been spectacular, but let's see. Don't pick out a parade route yet, boys.
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Right side to Wilson, centered up. Ovechkin has it, he scores! He scores! Alex Ovechkin scores 895! There's a new goal-scoring champion, and his name is Alexander Ovechkin! He has done it!
Congratulations to Alexander Ovechkin. Welcome to Hockey Immortality from everyone at SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
seem to find the puck real well tonight. He's really struggling to find it.
Yeah.
But it's hitting him, or else it's been blocked.
And that's been the story, hasn't it?
It really has. I mean, I'm thinking Braden Coburn's out there because there's been a block party for Toronto. They've been credited with 28 block shots.
Is that going up, though?
Pizza. Get up to 3 medium, 1-topping pizzas for $5 each. 241pizza.com. Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart with you. Stu, hanging on. Would that describe it?
Yeah, it's a shot block-a-thon that the Maple Leafs are on right now, and they're out blocking the Tampa Bay Lightning 28-9, 20 by the D, and they're just finding a way to sort of weather the storm, right? And it's not about bringing your A game every single night, but raising the level of your B game, and some guys are doing that tonight. So the game has opened up, as we described, thinking it was going to be tight checking, and Toronto was on their heels for most of that period, but ultimately after 40 minutes, they do have the lead, so you have to look at it and find the small victories within games like that. And another thing is, and another positive, the play of Stolarz, right? He's got 18 saves, I guess, through 40 minutes, and he's been dialed in. And again, they're not getting outclassed. Yes, they're losing some shifts, but ultimately they're setting themselves up for a solid third period.
Yeah, so the flip side of 28 block shots is the shot attempts. And for the Leafs, 19 on goal, 17 that missed for 36 attempts. And for Tampa, and they've now reduced it to 19 that got through and another 54 that did not get through. So let's do some quick math. That's 73 shot attempts, and the Leafs have 36. Quite a discrepancy. Wow.
A lot of volume, and Stolarz is dialed in, and I think that's it. When you have a goaltender that's that big, you're not going to beat him on a clean shot, right? So you saw Tampa Bay that period, sort of crash the crease a couple times, trying to knock it out of his gloves and just sort of get in his kitchen, right? But equally impressive is Vasilevsky. He was dialed in that period as well, and he was tough to beat. And again, it's not going to be a clean shot that beats any of these goaltenders. And we talked about the 4 posts that Stolarz, was protected by in that first period. So it is a good goaltending battle with a slight edge right now to Stolarz through the first 2 periods.
I'm curious, would you equate what you saw in the second period to what we saw in the first last night?
Again, it's, and again, I'm on the social media, and again, it's, maybe my eyes are a little bit glossy, maybe a little bit tired, but I'm not so unimpressed with that period where I'm sitting there having the big talk. Yes, you want to play better, but at this point of the year, it's about the results. And, again, I think they're setting themselves up for a decent effort. And yes, they came out a little bit more flat that period as opposed to the first period, but this is a Tampa Bay team that's used to scoring 5, 6, 7 goals sometimes as of late. And yes, the shot attempts are topsy-turvy, and yes, they're being outshot, but other than 4 or 5 segments, a lot of them have been from the outside. They are protecting the interior, and I don't think they're being quote unquote dominated out there where we have to say, oh man, like what's going on? Is this team taking a step back? So you look at it for positives. And I just remember being in the dressing room at this point of the year, and it's like, hey guys, yeah, we don't have our best right now, but we're setting ourselves up for the ability to get 2 points. There's a lot at stake here. Let's just continue to churn in, and we talked about it last night. It may take the last minute of the last period, and as outplayed as they were last night against the Florida Panthers, Austin Matthews had the game on his stick. The rebound did pop out to Nyes. The exact same rebound popped out to Nyes that it did last night. It just happened to go in now. So if I'm Toronto, you want to protect your goaltender. You don't want him now to be facing, 126 shot attempts and 43 hitting the net. Just try to now establish a forecheck. Do not sit back. Establish a forecheck. Have a good F3. Mind the puck, and do your best now to at least get a point and hopefully 2.
So the similarity between tonight and last night is something's going to happen probably early in that third that's going to tip this thing. And I don't know exactly, who to favor at this point. It's wide open, isn't it?
It's a bit of a track meet or a pond hockey game, for lack of better words, and it's entertaining, right? It's entertaining. Tampa Bay, they're a high octane team, and we talk about some of the players that are really, really high level players. Kucherov is a world class player, probably a top 5 player in the league. He's got some great opportunities. You saw the speed of Braden Point. Gord looks like he's fitting in on that top line as well, and impressive by Hagel scoring 35 goals and only there's 0 of them are on the power play. Like, what's that? Right? So, yes, Tampa Bay is an impressive team, but I can sit here and what my eyes are telling me, it's not a master class on how to play hockey. Toronto, they have a bit of a counter punch here and there, and yes, they're getting hemmed in, and Stolarz is probably overworking within that crease, but again, it's this time of the year where there's going to be some games where you just don't have it, but you find a way, and that's the message in the third period, in between the periods, if I'm Craig Berube.
Yeah, with the goaltender for Stolarz, I mean, 73 shot attempts. He's moving all over the place. He's gyrating. The play that I really liked, and just goes to show you how dangerous Kucherov is, the play that Benoit made on him late in the period to negate a shot on goal. That was a really Class A scoring chance.
Yeah, and it's just funny, right? With him, he can turn on a dime, he can go left, right. You're not sure if he's going to shoot, is he going to pass, what kind of moves he's going to. He is a world-class player too, and I'm a big fan of Benoit's game, and I'm singing his praises, I think, since the trade deadline. Where I'm not saying he's reinventing himself. You saw the opportunity he got in the first period, big slap shot, and yes, there's some times where he goes for a skate, and it's Benoit time, and he gets caught here and there, but very, very physical. I noticed him a couple big hits that period. He's playing his game. They're blocking shots. My count for Benoit is 2. Riley does have 8. He's impressive as well. So, I'll tell you this. They're not sitting in this dressing room right now saying, 75 shot attempts. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, let me get the iPad out and see what I can do better. It's like, hey guys, we gotta elevate a little bit. We're probably at a 6 or out of 10. Let's try to ramp it up for 8, because this is what it's at stake. We are playing for the division. Not saying you rather pick your opponent, but it's a lot probably better draw playing the Ottawa Senators than the Florida Panthers or Tampa Bay. You don't want to have to play 7 games against this Tampa Bay team. They have a lot of talent, and they have much more firepower than an Ottawa or a Montreal. So I think, with that motivation, and just looking at the big picture as opposed to guys like, we have to wake up, we're trending in the wrong direction. That's not the messaging right now. It's like, hey, it's not our best game, but the positives are we are in this game. There's been, 4 out of the last 5 periods we've probably been dominated, but we still had a chance to win. Our goaltending's giving us a chance. So I want that. I don't want them to lose the spirit of their goaltending. I want them to, Stolarz and Wall, to, continue to play at a high level. Do not air them, leave them out to dry. Do not, have them be overtired or overworked to have to pull a groin or hurt a knee, knock on wood, obviously, and just sort of match the energy and the intensity and the high level play that they're bringing every single night.
Leafs lead at 2-1 over Tampa after 40 minutes of play. Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The Bugs are back in town. OVO by Cirque du Soleil. With new characters, new staging, and new mind-bending acrobatics. OVO. Playing May 1st to June 28th at Lakeshore Boulevard West. OVO thanks its presenting partner, Sun Life. Tickets at CirqueDuSoleil.com.
Red and white. It runs through the veins of everyone who calls our country home. It brings us closer together, no matter where we are. This spring, patients across Canada need you to give a little red and white. Canadian Blood Services needs 450 new blood and plasma donors every day to fuel Canada's lifeline. Let's get Canada's blood pumping. Book an appointment today at blood.ca/450.
Get spring ready with CarQuest Auto Parts. Save now on premium brand name products. Castrol Magnatech Synthetic Oil 5-liter jugs, $31.97. Die Hard Lawn and Garden Battery Gold, $59.97. Rain-X Summer Breeze washer fluid 3.78 liter jug, only $3.97. And Trico-Flex wiper blades, all sizes, $9.97. Hit the road with CarQuest for your auto parts needs. Visit a CarQuest Auto Parts store or carquest.ca for more information and full flyer details at participating locations.
It's me, your barbecue, and I'm a raging fire. But that won't last long. Someone sold you damp wood, which means I can't burn properly. Heat getting weaker. Can't cook steaks. If only you had the right fuel.
Make it right. Make it Rona. Rona Week is on now. Save 15% on Pit Boss barbecues, accessories, and fuel. Conditions apply. Details in store and more offers at Rona.ca.
The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. You don't have to go to town for a great new Tundra RAV4 gas or hybrid. Maple Toyota has them in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. Two games we're concerned about. Rangers and Flyers tied at 1 late in the second period, and after 20 minutes of play, Minnesota 2-1 over the Sharks. In our game, 2-1 for the Leafs over the Lightning after 40 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
This one is a shocker.
When the sports world is talking, nobody gives you more perspectives than the experts of Sirius XM.
The Denver Nuggets have fired head coach Michael Malone.
Hear instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
What the F is happening right now?
Of all the names that could have been said. And expert analysis on NBA Radio.
We have seen two of the league's best coaches get fired in the last 2 weeks. Make it make sense.
Live sports talk when you need it is on Sirius XM and the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Sirius XM NHL Network Radio puts you on the ice.
If the Rangers get into the playoffs, Igor Shesterkin should win the Hart Trophy, because what is going on in front of him is an absolute miracle. They're within a mile of this playoff run.
The reason you are inconsistent is because you're consistently inconsistent. That's why they are not Tampa, Florida, Washington. I'm not buying it. What's that song? I won't be fooled again.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have it taken. Don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, the show has never changed. We're just back home. And it's great to be there. Sirius 161, XM 206. See you there.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the Sirius XM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable. Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Just search for your favorite club.
We deliver the NHL.
And I just wonder, Berkey, what your thoughts are on the Capitals. They are Exhibit A as to why a retool can work.
Yes, but it's early. Haven't had a playoff run yet. A lot of people taking bows right now that shouldn't be. I really like this coach. I think Chris Patrick, the GM, has done a real nice job. It is a retool, right? And the goaltending's been spectacular, but let's see. Don't pick out a parade route yet, boys.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the Sirius XM app. Just search for your favourite team.
Right side, dropping it off in the right wing boards for Cirelli. Cirelli to Kucherov, back to Hedman. Over on the far side for Point. Point back to Hedman, back on the near side, centering pass, scores! Kucherov finds his man, Bjorkstrand, in front of the net.
You and I were talking about Nikita Kucherov between periods and how sneaky he is. And here it is, just that little one-touch pass from the right wing circle out to the slot. And Bjorkstrand found a little bit of ice. And with Cirelli in front, providing a bit of a screen, it's Hedman, a little back pass to the right wing circle, and then just that little punch pass back out to the slot. Bjorkstrand, who was picked up from Seattle at the trade deadline, fires it past Anthony Stolarz, and that is his 5th goal as a member of the Lightning.
21st overall. And the Maple Leafs lead has evaporated. However, if you believe in the even up situation and of the National Ice Hockey League, the Leafs are due to get a power play or two here in the third period. Nylander able to keep the puck in on the left wing for Riley. A shot. That's blocked. And down and injured is Tavares.
Boy, he's back up on his feet now, but he was doubled over in behind the Tampa goal. And I'm not sure what had happened. And we're not getting a look at the replay here.
Apparently.
Oh, they say that something is under review. Was that a high stick?
May have been a high stick, yep.
Well, now we've got a Tampa player. Littleberg is going right to the bench.
Oh,
wow. Yeah.
Yes.
That could have taken the eye out of John Tavares. That came right up below his left eye.
And he's cut. So this is going to be a 4-minute penalty. No sooner said than done. But this was fairly easy.
Yeah, it's got to be a double minor. As you can see the gauze, the bloodied gauze on John Tavares' nose.
Confirmed 4-minute high stakes 78 Tampa.
Now, of course, the downside of a 4-minute power play is, can you get John Tavares repaired enough
to get him out there? Power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Enjoy winter to the fullest with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive. Visit your local Subaru dealer to book a test drive today.
And it would appear Tavares is going to start on the bench for this power play, but this is huge for the Leafs. Tampa has killed 11 of 15 in their last 5 games.
Getting a little gauze placed inside the nostril there to get him feeling a little bit better. McMahon goes out to replace Tavares. And the draw scrummed, puck grabbed off by the Lightning, and they're going to break it out at center and play it down into the Toronto end. A quick up, though, springs Nyes. Nyes gets in over the line, ran into a roadblock there. The Lightning get it freed up, and it's going to be swept out and down the ice, at least to the Leaf blue line. Matthews is there. He'll give it off to Marner. Marner looks back. He drops the puck back, and Matthews starts out of his own end with a pass to Nylander up on the wing. Tavares is into the game again. Centering pass to Nyes! Shot, stop, rebound, came in front. It's back into the slot for Nylander, and instead of shooting, it's deflected up into the screen.
Ryan McDonough is arguing, but he was the one that redirected that pass. But boy, you want Willie Nylander to fire it from there, don't you?
Oh, do you ever?
See the difference, you know, when we saw Matthew Nyes try to dump it in, Ryan McDonough stands him up. Boy, it was nice. Hit the post. I thought it went off the blocker of
I did as well. Yep. 3:20 to go in the power play. Game tied at 2s. Draw one by Tavares. Marner with a pass in front, deflected and a goal. Rebound, scores! Matthew Nyes jams it home! And the Leafs regain the lead on the first of 2 power play opportunities.
9 goals, 9 games versus Tampa for Matthew Nyes. And old-fashioned. Mitch Marner is so smart, Joe, just throws the puck. We talk about Kucherov. But this time it's Marner. Throws the puck to the net. Not a hard wrist shot, but just with bodies in front. And I think John Tavares deflects this before it gets to Vasilevsky. And then, like his first goal for Nyes in this game, it goes off the pad of Vasilevsky, and then Nyes somehow sweeps it around the right pad of the Tampa goaltender. And more importantly for the Leafs, Joe, still on the power play, so they're able to connect on the first half of the double minor.
28th goal of the year for Nyes, his second of the contest. And the Leafs restore a 1-goal lead and now look to add. Brought to center now by the Leafs and brought in over the line by Domi, second unit on the ice for Toronto. Domi gets it into the slot. Here's a shot from a sharp angle by Robertson that was stuffed by Vasilevsky. Round on the boards, it'll find Domi. Slot for Robertson and a shot, and that went high and wide. Riley trying to keep it in around the board's far side. Back to the point for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but he has to go off a skate and into the Tampa Bay bench. And the faceoff subsequently will be deep in Tampa Bay territory, and out comes Nyes and company again.
That was actually fortunate a number of ways because Ekman-Larsson didn't have many options but to try to knife it back into the zone. It goes off his skate. Faceoff stays in the Tampa zone, and Tavares comes back out with the number 1 unit.
Draw scrum, but controlled by Tampa Bay, and they're going to send it out and down the ice.
The Toronto goal scored by number 23.
Marner goes back to retrieve it. Minute 19 to go in the power play. Marner through center, dropping it back. Nylander brings it to the line with a pass to Nyes. Nyes dropping it back to the blue line to Marner. Now it goes to Matthews into the side of the goal for Nylander. Back to Matthews, a shot. And he went to the glove side this time, and it was caught by Vasilevsky.
Matthews wanted to elevate that a little more, but it was about getting it away quickly. Little give and go with Willie Nylander. Left wing side. Yeah, if that gets up, go. Another 6 inches. I think it's 4-2 Toronto.
Minute 2 to go in the power play. Draw won by the Maple Leafs. Marner, a cross-ice pass in front. Tavares and Matthews shot hit the goalpost. Rebound is controlled by Matthews and maintained in the zone. Comes in with a pass. Knocked into the corner for Nyes. Nyes around back of the net. Stops up. Looks to play it into the corner, and it comes back to the point. Marner with a shot. That is into the glove of Vasilevsky. Nyes getting wrestled on the side of the goal. And is in a bit of a headlock there. Nothing more coming. Well, I shouldn't say that. Now both are going to be dispatched, Chernik and Nyes.
I thought the referee might have just made a motion for penalties here.
That's what I thought. I think both of them are going, to be honest with you, Jimmy.
And we'll see again. I still think in the go-ahead goal by Nyes that it was deflected by John Tavares in front. But boy, I mean, Matthew Nyes just gets put in a headlock and dragged in behind the net.
23, Tampa 81, 2 minutes each for roughing. We're still 5-on-4.
I don't know if I love that call.
Well, I don't, but
I mean, you don't want to throw one out now, but,
no, but
you did that in the second period. The interference penalty by Scott Laughton.
But this stoppage has given that number 1 unit a little bit more time to relax. Or at least, well, not relax, rest. Draw one cleanly by Tavares. Into the slot. Willie gives it over to the far side. Matthews back to the point. A shot by Matthews by Marner was deflected. And then a penalty coming here as Tavares got tangled up with one of the Lightning players. Both players went down.
Yeah, now they're going to call everything, right? Yeah, but until there's a high stick that draws blood in a double minor. And it's Max Domi's going to go for tripping.
Okay, I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, you know what? It is a trap.
Yeah, it is. And then Tavares got knocked down by the fallen player, so Domi is going off.
Boy. And, I mean, the last thing you want, Max Domi gets an opportunity in the power play. And at 3:38. What do we got? 4-on-4 here for 26 seconds before the Lightning will go to their third power play of the night.
Tavares and Marner assist on the Nyes goal. So Mitch Marner is up to 97 points now. And the face-off, 4-on-4 for 26 seconds, will be in the Toronto end.
And an important face-off here with 26 seconds. winning.
And it is deflected out into the center ice area. Moser goes back. And the Lightning will stretch things out here as they are 15 seconds away from their third power play of the game. And the penalty kill will be brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. Hedman, as the power play goes into effect, Point gets across the line. Fed in by Bjorkstrand, but it comes all the way out at center ice. Bjorkstrand sending it back. Hedman to Kucherov to Point. And across the line. In along the boards, sent around the wall to the far side. Trapped over there by Cirelli. In along the boards and into the near corner. It goes back in the net. Kucherov back into the slot. Gets a return pass. Kucherov back to the point to Hedman. Hedman into the corner. Point looking for room in front. The shot deflects in front of the net. Chopped at by Benoit. Fired by Tanev, and out and down the ice it's going to go.
Boy, that was a huge block by Simon Benoit on the one-timer by Kucherov.
45 seconds left in the power play.
I think he got over before Stolarz did.
15 minutes left in the third period. Lightning get it down into the zone, and Point gets it back to Hedman. Hedman over on the far side. Looking for a pass, trying to get freed up was Bjorkstrand. He gives it to Point. Down low it goes. Looking for a man in front was Cirelli. Now Kucherov centers, and it's going to deflect to the line, but not out. Hedman is able to keep it in. Kucherov looking for the puck on the near side. It comes to Hedman. Now to Kucherov. Kucherov trying to flip it in front and out of midair. Matthews is able to tomahawk it out and down the ice. And the power play will expire before the Lightning get out of their own end. So the Leafs give up a goal, but score one on the power play and maintain a 3-2 lead. Puck into the corner, and Tanev playing it up on the wall, and the Leafs get it out into the center ice area. Lawton couldn't find his man. Brought right back in by Darren Radish. Radish centers. Good back checking by Yarncrook. Takes it away. Played around the boards to the far side for Lawton, and he's just going to scoop it out at center. Radish will bring it right back in again. Round on the boards for Tanev. Played back behind the net for Morgan Riley. Riley with a bank pass off a stick out at center ice. Linesman says no icing as it rolls down in behind Tampa Bay's net. Played ahead by Brandon Hagel. That's broken up. Now brought in over the line. Myers jams his man Moser to the far boards. Kept into the Toronto zone. Leafs trying to pry the puck free on the end boards. Get it freed up for Nylander. Nylander a little saucered pass to the right wing side. And the Leafs, when you spend that much time in your own end, when you finally get it out, there's really no energy left to get into the forecheck and start anything offensively because you've spent so much time in your own end. You got to go and change. And now they're back in their own zone again. Here's Hagel. Point shot deflects in front of the net. Still free. Gobbled up and played out at center. And now here's Robertson with fresh legs getting in over the line. Robertson stops in the corner. Centers! And a shot taken there. Went just wide of the net by Pontus Holmberg. Here's Lorenz working it back to the blue line. Wrist shot coming but wide. Lorenz going to get to the rebound again. Send it towards the net. Robertson helps out. Back to Lorenz, a shot off a leg. Leafs trying to do what the Lightning have been doing. And a shot by Robertson was stopped by Vasilevsky. Robertson takes his man down. Leafs keep the puck in. Trying to get it in front of the net. It goes back to the goal. Now Matthews. Leafs in the middle of a change. Could have been a penalty there, I agree. Now here's Matthews again. Down on the half boards for Marner. For Matthews, he couldn't shoot it. Tanev back to Matthews. Now to Marner. Marner holds with a wrist shot coming, and it's blocked. Matthews with the rebound. Tired group of Lightning out here. Off the skate of Matthews. And the Lightning are going to get possession and get a much-needed change going. Or will they? It's played out at center, and the Leafs have it again. Right back into the zone comes Austin Matthews. Pass into the slot area. Knocked away there as Lawton went to the front of the net. Back to the point. A shot Comes off a leg in front. Swept in front of the goal by Marner. Now it's Matthews in the corner. Off a stick and back to the point and a wrist shot. Blockered away. Leafs keep it in with Morgan Riley getting it in deep. 11:20 to go and a couple of real good shifts here by the Maple Leafs. Bjorkstrand gets it out, but not much more they can do than to get it to Morgan Riley, who plays it around on the boards, and Marner will play it off on the right wing. Leafs get it to center and shoot it in, and change is coming. Domi out of the penalty box, has it down into the slot, but it is cleared by the Lightning back into Toronto territory. Benoit up ahead. Over the line for McMahon. Robertson again. He's had a couple of good shifts here. Back of the net. It's up against the boards behind the Lightning goal. 10:41 to play in the third. Robertson again getting it back to the point. D-to-D pass and a fight starts in front of the net. Bobby McMahon and Braden Point throwing punches. And the line. Get out of there! Linesmen are going to break it up before they can really get going.
I don't know if there was a penalty being called before the fight started. Leafs had control of the puck when the whistle went. And I thought I just saw the referee make a cross-checking signal. Fans in Tampa love it. Even if it's a power play for Tampa, they do lose. Braden Point for 5 minutes if it's going to be majors to both.
Well, they're discussing it at the bench.
About it. And you've got 3 officials rubbing their chin, which is never a good sign.
You know what? That means they're trying to think.
We're going to see it here. Darce McMahon gets shoved from behind.
Whoa. Oh. Robertson got drilled. And then the fight started out in front of the net. So we'll step aside, figure it all out. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Feel the bass. Ride the rhythm. And move to the dance hits and remixes that defined a generation. In Utopia. A channel pulsing with 90s rave classics and iconic 2000s club anthems. Utopia. Channel 341 or at home on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stiller.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finish?
Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. We got to get the usual YouTube business out of the way, team. Now's the time. Please exit out of the chat and check to see if you've hit that thumbs up button. Have you hit that like button yet? The more likes we get, the more people will come find us to hang out with us and cheer on our buds tonight. And we need all the help we can get against the Lightning to try and wrap up the Atlantic Division crown. As well, please share this link out. Send it out to your friends, your enemies if you have to. I mean, we even have Montreal Canadian fans here in the chat that have a good time and cheer on with the Leafs with us. How has that even happened? Tonight, go Leafs go. Thank you for being here. Please share the link. Hit that like button. If you're new, turn on the subscribe button as well with that little bell so you don't miss it. Every single Leafs game all season long. And yeah, we're doing every single game of the NHL playoffs as part of our Playoff Pulse campaign. Go Leafs go. We'll see you back in the chat.
To Kucherov, a pass in front of the net is knocked down. Leafs get it freed up, but they don't clear. Back around to an empty corner. Tanev is in pursuit, Marner as well. Back, it's stolen by Tanev, and out and down the ice he sends it.
Boy, what a great read by Brandon Tanev. Or Chris Tanev, Brendan's brother.
You have that other guy. Brought on now by Hagel to the line. It'll be played back into the slot area in the center ice area now, and brought on by Kucherov. He works in over the line with a pass into the slot that deflected to the far boards. Played around and deflected high off the glass and into the screen by Oliver Ekman-Larsson with 1:01 to go in the power play. And you can bet Kucherov and Hedman will be out there for the full 2 minutes.
Yeah, and what we've seen now is Bobby McMahon is actually the one that got the extra penalty for cross-checking.
Oh, okay. And Robertson is serving it. All right. Draw is scrummed. One of the problems of not being able to hear the PA announcements. And you have to kind of figure it all out from the NHL website. In along the boards, it comes back to the point. Hedman over on the far side. A pass back to Hedman once more, looking for Hagel, but Hedman couldn't handle the puck, and it comes out into neutral ice. Hagel, second unit for the Lightning, and across the line with Cirelli. Pass back into the slot area, and a shot. Blocked there, sprawling to block it was Matthews, but the Leafs don't get it out. Kept in by Hedman, scores! Marner had a chance to clear. He dove to try and touch the puck, but he missed it. And Austin Matthews is doubled over, hanging to the bench after blocking that shot, but the game is tied at 3.
I would really have loved to see a better look at the Bobby McMahon cross-check, Joe, because a lot was going on. And somehow, we never did really get a great look at it, but here the Leafs look like they're going to be able to clear it. Mitch Marner dives to try to sweep it the rest of the way out of the line and misses it, and Victor Hedman just picks it up and walks in, and Brendan Hagel, is it not, that is in front of Anthony Stolarz for the screen.
Yeah, Stolarz, I don't think ever saw it. Yeah, it would have been nice to have been able to see that live and then even a replay of some sort. But the referees have certainly gotten involved in the hockey game here, and it's tied at 3s. Out come the Lightning to center. Chaffee out across the line, getting it down into the corner. Leafs around back of the net with a pass up on the wing, and now Pontus Holmberg to Tavares. Tavares, nifty little move to gain the zone to Holmberg. Holmberg one-hands it back to the goal, but loses the puck. And out come the Lightning at center with Nick Perbix. Perbix to center. And across the line, dropping it back with a shot. Blockered away by Stolarz. It'll come to the near wall. Chopped at by Domi and knocked down into Tampa Bay territory. Victor Hedman with his 15th at 11:05 on the power play. And the Lightning have tied the game with a couple of power play goals. Leafs chip it out into the center ice area. Domi couldn't get away. Lightning bank it back in over the line. Stumbling there was Carlo, but his big frame is able to get to the puck quickly and get it over to Benoit, who plays it off a stick but not out. Now Domi will play it back to him, and the Leafs will regroup in their own zone. Benoit and Carlo exchange the disc. Carlo from center ice shoots it in to get a change going. With 7:18 to play here in the third period. Matthews back on after blocking that shot and being doubled over as he went to the bench. Long lead pass goes down into the Toronto zone. Brought on by Chernik with a long shot that Stolarz handles easily and stops play with a faceoff coming in the Toronto end. Victor Hedman has tied the game on a power play goal. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I don't want to say I'm a big deal, but I am a superhero. I love helping people consolidate their debts, and that's what I did for the Smiths. I took their bills and zoom, wha-bam, zap, turn them into one low monthly payment. No, the sound's not necessary, but it's part of the fun.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs Bracket Challenge presented by Skip is back.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And now it's time to take your shot. Face off against family and friends. And see if you can predict this year's playoffs.
McDavid shoots and scores.
Can you pick the perfect bracket and claim the ultimate prize? A trip to a 2025-26 NHL event. Sign up today for a chance to win exclusive prizes at nhl.com/bracket.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
Leafs win the face-off. It goes around back of the net. Played out off a stick and over the glass into the rail seats.
You're right, just 2 minors in the first 2 periods. That was to Tavares for tripping and Scott Lott for interference. Now we've had fighting majors, cross-checking, coincidental roughing penalties, and a double minor for high sticking.
And we still do not know why Bobby McMahon got the additional penalty.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was warranted, but
still haven't seen it. Nylander coming out of his own end, works to the left wing side and in, driving on the left wing, stops up in the corner, lost the puck, it comes in front of the net, shot by Tavares, went wide or over top of the net. That was Lorenz, I believe. Now here's Nylander working it on the backhand, and it went off a stick and went over top of the goal. Yarncrook was the one who had the great chance earlier. 19, not 18. Oliver Ekman-Larsson back of the net. Overall, it's been a much better period for the Maple Leafs than the second period was. Leafs get it down into the zone. Lorenz up against the boards. Lawton got his man covered, but it is carried out at center ice by Gourde. Now played into the zone by the Lightning as it bounces around back of the goal. Fed up on the left wing. Out comes Lorenz. Played high into the zone by Steven Lorenz. Around on the boards, it'll come back on the right wing. And the Lightning get it out at center. Quickly played by Carlo, back out into neutral ice. Leafs will get it airmailed high and over the line. Lorenz was body checked and knocked down. And Lightning get it to center and shoot it back into the Toronto zone. Puck on the far wing. Nyes plays it around back of the net off of Benoit's skate. Marner is able to tip it. Ahead it goes far side for Nyes. He couldn't get to it. And the Lightning get it back at center and send it into the Toronto zone. Pass to the near side, Benoit. He gave the puck away in the slot on a bad pass. Backhand pass through the goal crease, went wide. Marner couldn't chip it ahead, but he got enough of it that it went over the glass and out of play. Face-off coming in the Toronto end.
Well, Benoit made one of those plays where he thought, I think I've got somebody. Right? I think I got somebody in that area in the circle, but put it right onto a Tampa stick.
Calle Yarncrook having the great opportunity seconds earlier. It is tied at 3s. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
As a sports fan, I just want the games. Right now, it's practically a full-time job to figure out which bundle I need. But with the SiriusXM app, it's done the bundling for me.
It is gone, a grand slam!
I don't have to go anywhere else to get every MLB, NFL, NBA, and NHL game. When there's a college game on, I just search for the school on the SiriusXM app.
Holy smoke!
Ouch, what a play!
With the All Access plan to the SiriusXM app, I've got the sports world in the palm of my hand. No bundle required.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play.
Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. The best hockey lives here.
Marks gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs 3 and the Tampa Bay Lightning 3. 4 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in the third period. Leafs are out shooting Tampa Bay 26-24, and if you just read it that way, you'd think it's a pretty even game. Third period has been, but the first two were dominated by the Lightning. And the Leafs get the puck out at center ice, and Nylander turns with it. He'll hit the red line, launches it in, and then wheels in there after it against Hedman. Pushes it up on the wing. Leafs keep it in with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Now to Domi. A shot was blocked. Nylander in the corner to Max. Max sent it back to him, but he wasn't expecting it. And Hedman has it now with a long lead pass that was knocked out of the air rather adroitly there by Tavares, who's complaining about a slash on the hands with no call. Lightning with it in their own zone. Dropping it back. Marner will move up to pressure his man, and he's done well to get it forced back of the goal. Played into the corner, and Nyes couldn't come up with it, and out come the Lightning at center. In across the line is Hagel. He loses it. Leafs bring it back the other way with Marner. Flipping it into the right wing corner, and Big Nyes goes in there after it. Nyes against the boards. Came out of the corner with it. Back to the point. Riley did well to just keep it in, but the Lightning are able to break it back out at center. In on the left wing side. Pass into the slot, and a backhand is scooped out of the air by Stolars. Nyes really got kind of confused as to who he was going to go after.
Yeah, but Hagel, at least Brandon Carlo challenged the player in front. Morgan Riley had sort of lost his man Hagel on the other side. I mean, this is a 2-on-2. But again, we've talked about this, how Morgan Riley gets caught backing in. And that gave the space. If he's out another 4 feet, 5 feet, he just redirects that pass out of harm's way.
3:40 to play in the third. Gone the Leaf zone to the left. And the draw goes into the corner. One-handed back to the goal for Tanev. Tanev works it out at center ice. Nice. Really got kind of confused as to who he was going to go after.
Yeah, but Hagel, at least Brandon Carlo challenged the player in front. Morgan Riley had sort of lost his man Hagel on the other side. I mean, this is a 2-on-2. But again, we've talked about this, how Morgan Riley gets caught backing in. And that gave the space. If he's out another 4 feet, 5 feet, he just redirects that pass out of harm's way.
3:40 to play in the third. Gone the Leaf zone to the left. And the draw goes into the corner. One-handed back of the goal for Tanev. Tanev works it out at center ice. And it is backhanded into the zone there by the Leafs Lorenz. Puck along the boards to the point, not out. Kept in Oliver Ekman-Larsson with a shot. Blocked in front of the net. And the Lightning are going to get it out into neutral ice. Trying to play it in over the line was Kucherov. Tanev stops up. Plays it back up on the boards now, and it is Lorenz getting it out into the center ice area, but no further. Both teams are trying to change. Right wing side for Braden Point. Point taken off the puck adroitly there, nicely by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and the Leafs are out at center with Robertson. One-handing it down into the zone and then going in to try to get a forecheck going. Played up onto the slot area, off a stick, and the Lightning get it out at center. Cross the line for Nicholas Paul, but without control. It's played around the boards for the Leafs to try and move it out, but they can't get it out past the blue line. Played back into the corner. Back of the net, stolen to the side of the goal. Benoit pounds it on the wall to the far side, but it won't clear. Lightning keep it in. High into the corner. Carlo knocks his man flat, and the puck comes out at center, and Robertson trying to fish it away, and he has. Trying to one-hand it in front, and he couldn't get it there. Good effort there by Nick Robertson, who's trying to get a change going. Here are the Lightning with 2:13 to go. And across the line into the slot area. Pad save and a dandy. Made there by Stolars. Matthews turns in his own end. Out come the Leafs at center with Marner. To the line and in. Left wing side. Looking for Matthews in the corner. Had to go off the stick. Matthews comes out with it. Nice. Got a one-timer away and went wide. Leafs get it back to the point. D to D it goes. Wrist shot in traffic. Knocked down in front of the net. And flattened there was Marner without a call. Minute 39 to go. Shot into the Toronto zone. Stolars out of the goal. Plays it back along the boards, and Riley will get it out at center. Too far for Marner. Lightning have to go back in their own end. They'll play it up into the neutral zone. Brought on at center now by Gonzalez. Set into the Toronto end. Benoit along the boards for Brandon Carlo. Carlo gets it ahead. Leafs are going to try and muscle it out. And Nylander gets it to the red line. And Tavares trying to get it into the zone. Does. To Willie. Nylander right wing side. In a goal. Oh, the pad save made by Vasilevsky. What a chance that was. Oh, my.
What extra effort by Nylander.
Tampa keeps the puck into the Leaf zone now. Kucherov going wide. Centering pass. Goes off a stick and goes back to the blue line. Kucherov gets it on the near half boards. Back behind the net. Gourde to the point. Pass back in, back of the goal. Kucherov after it. Marner comes up with it. Gets it ahead for Nyes. Nyes at center shoots it in. He'll go in there after it, but Vasilevsky will play it away from him. 16 seconds left in regulation. Puck down into the corner for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who gets it up on the wing, but the Leafs don't clear it. It's back into the corner with 4 seconds left. Played on the backhand now down the ice, and time will run out.
Boy, this is still a huge point for the Leafs, as they will remain in top spot in the division. But boy, with this,
Nylander had the game on his stick, though, didn't he?
Yep, and that was extra effort just to drive down the right wing boards, beat his man to the net, and Andrei Vasilevsky tried to make a cute little move and go 5-hole because Nylander did not have the option to try to take it wide as the slot was being closed off.
Bjorkstrand tied the game. Nyes restored the lead. Both power play goals, but Hedman gets the equalizer at 11:05. We're going to overtime. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances.
What's up, insiders? Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight for the Leafs and the Lightning. Please take a second during the intermission to check out our new merch options. We're finally up and running on our new website. Big shout out to Level Up SEO. Thank you guys for getting that website looking as cool as it is. Check it out. All of our new merch, if you click the product in the YouTube Live, it'll take you there, and then you can head over to our live viewers tab and see where the rest of the world is watching from live, hanging out with us during the Leafs and the Lightning. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for checking out the merch, and let me know. I'm open to feedback. What do you like? What do you don't like? What would you like to see better? Go Leafs, go! Thank you, We'll see you back in the chat.
That have gone to extra time. The Lightning are 6-6.
Leafs now with 99 points on the season. And an opportunity to hit the 100 mark in this overtime or shootout.
This is a huge point. Leafs can move 3 points up, or the Lightning can crawl to within 1.
So here we go. They switch ends.
John Tavares has had an overtime goal in this building.
Yes, he has. Although we thought it was Morgan Riley.
Oh, I was going to go regular season, though. Regular season.
Too late, I got you. Too late.
He's had at least 2 overtime goals in this building.
Thank you. Leafs to the left. And the Lightning to the right. Tavares wins the draw, and he will stay out onto the ice. I thought he might go to the bench. Morgan Riley breaks down the right wing. Banks it back, and it's going to come all the way back to center and back to goaltender Stolarz, who plays it ahead to Nylander. Nylander weaving in on the left wing, dropping it back for Morgan Riley. Looks for Nylander and finds him. Willie works back into the slot area, dropped it off for Tavares. Tavares for Riley. Riley has it knocked away, and a breakaway opportunity for Point. Blocked, and a good save made by Stolarz. Riley thought he got high stick, but no call. Point with it now. Tampa Bay with the offense. Kucherov in, shooting. Blocked there by Stolarz with the blocking glove. Tired group of Leafs out here. Nylander comes away with the puck, though. They'll need to get a change going. Willie has it in behind the goal, patiently waiting for the 2 exchanges, and they are Matthews and likely Marner. A long lead pass by Nylander. Breakaway opportunity! And that was stopped by by Vasilevsky. Who was that? Who had the breakaway?
Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Here's a shot that Stolarz is going to cover up on. I'm sorry, folks, but that camera angle switched so fast. You couldn't pick up the number, and the long lead pass from Nylander. And it was Oliver Ekman-Larsson with the breakaway, and then at the other end earlier, 2 good saves made by Anthony Stolarz.
Finally, now we're going to get Matthews and Marner out together. But Willie Nylander, the great outlet pass. There he is. He was getting booed by the Tampa fans for waiting so long behind the Leaf net. And then finally, the Leafs got a change, and it was Ekman-Larsson that jumped out.
And the problem after that was he lost his edge and slid into the corner, and 3-on-2 was going the opposite direction. Now it's down into the Tampa Bay zone. Brought out by Cirelli. Knocked off his stick by Marner, but he is able to go back and recover it. Cirelli comes through center to the line and in. Cirelli has it knocked off his stick there, but a centering pass. And a loose puck in front. Cirelli just sent it in wide. Now the Leafs are trying to pry a loose puck free in the near corner. And it's Marner getting it ahead to Matthews. Matthews, a flip pass to open ice for Marner. Marner's just going to play it back. He's dog tired. And it's down back of the net, and Stolarz will leave it there for Tanev. Tanev says, I don't need to be on here. I don't score goals. And goes to the bench. And brought out by Domi. Max is in across the line. Domi in the near corner in the near circle. Dropping it off for Morgan Riley. Riley playing it back to Domi. Domi in. Couldn't shoot it. Was tripped, but no call. And the puck comes back to the blue line. Domi unable to keep it in. And neither could Nyes. Now a 2-on-1 going the other way. Kucherov shot it wide. Domi with the loose puck, trying to play it ahead. Morgan Riley finds Nyes with one man back. Riley jumping into the rush. Nyes to Riley. Good save made by Vasilevsky. Centering pass. Matthews scores. Nyes gets a beautiful goal-mouth pass for the hat trick, and the Leafs win it in overtime.
Wow. Morgan Riley and Nyes in a 2-on-1, but the pass Nyes makes to Riley is through his own legs. Riley doesn't finish, throws it back to Matthews coming off the bench. Matthews takes it to the net, and Matthew Nyes is wide open to the left of Vasilevsky. And Anthony Stolarz, Joe, I mean, he has been brilliant. He was lucky that Kucherov had the puck roll off his stick of the 2-on-1. But this pass between the legs over to Riley. Riley's shot is stopped, and then Matthews, following up the play, takes the pass from Morgan Riley. And Matthews, he had to make a nice little move to get around his man before sliding it over to Matthew Nyes, who, by the way, if you're keeping track, has now played 9 career games against the Tampa Bay Lightning and has 10 career goals, including the overtime winner tonight.
See, when you sign a contract while you're in Florida, in Tampa, and play your first ever NHL game, it is something to celebrate continuously.
Well, I wish somebody would have signed one in Vegas or Dallas.
A hat trick completing goal for Matthew Nyes from Matthews and Riley in overtime.
Boy, and to keep the lead, or expand on the lead, now a 3-point lead for the Leafs in the standings. And not only that, I mean, they don't get the regulation win. They're still tied with Tampa in regulation wins at 39. But that, I mean, a 3-point lead. And the second tiebreaker, Joe, is regulation overtime wins. The Leafs now with 47, Tampa with 43 when you start getting down to the tie-breaking factors. But a huge win for the Leafs. I thought they were hanging on. After they went up 2-0, I thought they were hanging on until the third period.
Second period?
Yeah,
remember what the total attempts at goal were after 2 periods of play. 72 for Tampa Bay, 36 for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and that's pretty telling. But I thought the Leafs, I give them a lot of credit. They responded in the third period and pushed back. Unfortunately, couldn't get the win in regulation, but you like the pushback by the Leafs in the third.
And if you have open ice, like you do in overtime, the Leafs have got some talented people, and Matthew Nyes finishes off the hat trick as the Maple Leafs will return home to host the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night. Yeah, they all meld together at this time of the year. Back-to-back games starting then. They'll be in Carolina the next night, then in Buffalo and in Detroit, and then home against Detroit to round out the regular season. So the Leafs trying to hang on to the Atlantic Division lead. Lots to talk about for Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart as the Leafs win in overtime 4-3. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hear the Masters exclusively on Sirius XM. Hi, this is Mike Tirico, and there's nothing like the Masters.
Rory McIlroy, he's thinking grand slam.
The beauty of the azaleas, the passion of the patrons, and the best golfers in the world vying for a green jacket.
For birdie, 16, it's on the way and in. Scotty Scheffler can put one arm in the jacket now.
It all makes for one of the most iconic weekends in sports. Join me for live coverage of the Masters starting tomorrow at 2 Eastern on Masters Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the Sirius XM app.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the Sirius XM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable. Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation.
All right, insiders, what a night we had here on TSI, the Leafs and the Lightning. We really appreciate you hanging out here with us and checking out our new website. A big shout out to 3 big team members here of the Insider crew. Number 1, and his highlights are coming up really soon. Big shout out to Leafs Jelly HD. Watch out for the link. It's coming through real quick. Jelly is the best in the business. Gets the highlights with Joe Bowen's commentary up immediately. And don't forget Jim Ralph too. Second, Level Up SEO. Cheers. If you guys are interested in website services, please check out Level Up SEO. You see the logo up there. The work that they have done here with us has been absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to keep on going with you guys and tearing it up even further. Number 3, a big shout out to SOP True. Darcy, my man, thank you for holding it down over on the soccer channel. We've got a lot more stuff coming up with Manchester United here in the future. And oh yeah, guys, look out. In just a few more months, we're going to be creating an unbelievable community like we've done here for Toronto and benefiting Sick Kids Hospital. We're going to do the same thing in Chicago with Chicago Sports Insider to benefit Lurie Children's Hospital here in Chicago, where my babies have received life-saving care. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to the future. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Have a great evening, everybody. We'll let the post-game run until Frank Trachtenberg comes on. Go Leafs, go.
Come back, and he was electrifying. Mess got the 3 goals, but Alex was a horse, and it's very talented, powerful. And the problem was he was so efficient that he could stay out, but he didn't grasp the concept of just picking up the intensity. You could see him; he could dangle and hang onto the puck, and nobody could take it from him. He was resting while he was out there,
So in essence, it was a bit of a training ground for what was to come against the Devils at the most important time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a good lesson for him, because that's what he did in that game. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I just said, Alex, I'm going to double shift you. Get ready. Don't be out too long.
That was former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan in conversation with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin for the Morning Skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That's SiriusXM Channel 91.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. SiriusXM Channel 89.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lightning on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 945, Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m. New York Rangers face the Philadelphia Flyers. Rangers on XM 219 Internet 938, Flyers on Internet 940. 8 p.m. Minnesota Wild face the San Jose Sharks. Wild on XM 220 Internet 933, Sharks on Internet 942. 10 p.m. Anaheim Ducks host the Calgary Flames. Ducks on XM 221 Internet 920, Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the St. Louis Blues. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Blues on Internet 944. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lightning on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 945, Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m. New York Rangers face the Philadelphia Flyers. Rangers on XM 219 Internet 938, Flyers on Internet 940. 8 p.m. Minnesota Wild face the San Jose Sharks. Wild on XM 220 Internet 933, Sharks on Internet 942. 10 p.m. Anaheim Ducks host the Calgary Flames. Ducks on XM 221 Internet 920, Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the St. Louis Blues. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Blues on Internet 944. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio, SiriusXM 86.
Former Buffalo Sabres head coach Don Granato was on the morning skate with Scott Lachlan and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to talk about how different today's athletes are, as well as what it's been like to watch Austin Matthews grow.
It's really a switch in the last 10 years. The first birth year I had at the national team program was 95 birth year. So it was JT Compher, Tyler Mott, that group. You have them for 2 years, so the next birth year coming in was the 97s, which was prolific. It was Austin Matthews and Matthew Tkachuk and McAvoy and Hanifin and Werenski. And I remember talking to the coaches back then that this birth year is way different than the 95 birth year. And this summer, ironically, I picked up a book that titled The Anxious Generation. And I thought it was very well documented, and the author used the iPhone. And the iPhone came out in 2008 or 6, somewhere in that range. But social media didn't hit hard on the iPhone where you could rate a kid's looks if you're a high school student. And so judging other people on a social media app on the iPhone was about 2013. And so now you think about all these kids going to high school, and we never had this. They could be made fun of on social media. They don't even know it, and they're walking out of a classroom and people are laughing. Yeah. So it's a different world we all live in because we're all criticized and compared to more and faster. And with that, you need to balance that with support. And I think, lots of coaches that have gone that I watch around the league in the NHL, there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of good young coaches that are really good at that. The X's and O's, I say to people, are easy now. When the X's and O's are a very simple part of hockey. It's connecting with people and getting people motivated and excited. And that's changed dramatically. X's and O's became big when video hit the computer. You could watch 100 or 1,000 forechecks over and over and over and say, okay, these are the key components on a forecheck. And so, you didn't have to be in the NHL to become better at that. So that's the easy part. I just can't imagine doing this or that I did it. I called Brian Matthews one time in Austin's U17 year. And I said, Brian, do you have any idea how good your son is? And his reply was, no. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you, what is this conversation? And I had to explain to him, and I said, I think this is what's going to happen in Austin. I said, you honestly have to prepare for your life to become very chaotic and crazy. And lo and behold, he gets drafted in Toronto instead of some different market. And we know how crazy it can be here. Oh yeah. But and then the last thing I'll say on it is I remember leading up to the draft, lots of people said, can he handle Toronto? And I thought, absolutely, no problem. And the biggest thing for me is when a young player comes in the league, and we talked about it earlier, if they're a -2 or 3 and they have a really tough night, you get to know how they're going to respond. And some that breaks their confidence, and maybe they need a stint in the AHL. You got to get them out of the pressure. But Austin was so good that if that happened, and when it's happened in his career, it doesn't hurt his confidence. He knows that he's in that category of player that I know I can redeem myself just get me to the next game now. And they can do, the best players can do that. And that's a different echelon of player at the NHL level that can do that. So if you look at the top players in the NHL, their confidence is not going to break. The guys right under that, they have a bad night. They may not want that next game.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lightning on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 945, Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m. New York Rangers face the Philadelphia Flyers. Rangers on XM 219 Internet 938, Flyers on Internet 940. 8 p.m. Minnesota Wild face the San Jose Sharks. Wild on XM 220 Internet 933, Sharks on Internet 942. 10 p.m. Anaheim Ducks host the Calgary Flames. Ducks on XM 221 Internet 920, Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the St. Louis Blues. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Blues on Internet 944. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lightning on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 945. Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m. New York Rangers face the Philadelphia Flyers. Rangers on XM 219, Internet 938. Flyers on Internet 940. 8 p.m. Minnesota Wild face the San Jose Sharks. Wild on XM 220, Internet 933. Sharks on Internet 942. 10 p.m. Anaheim Ducks host the Calgary Flames. Ducks on XM 221, Internet 920. Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m. Edmonton Oilers take on the St. Louis Blues. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 930. Blues on Internet 944. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
New York Rangers legend and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier joined Scott Laughlin on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to share what it was like to play in the 1994 finals with the New York Rangers, as well as ending the 54-year drought for the franchise and how that team represented what a hockey team is all about.
Well, look, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about 1994 as well. You mentioned Mike Keenan. We spoke with him in studio a couple of weeks ago. He still speaks so highly of you and of that run. So take us back to ending the 54-year drought. In Game 7, you get a power play goal. You shovel a puck underneath of Kirk McLean. Stands up as the game winner, as it turns out. So take us back to that hot, steamy night. What was it, June 14th of 1994 at the Garden in New York?
Just, I guess just starting, going to the rink, trying to keep your same routine. Brian Leach and I would always drive together down through Times Square, down Broadway 7th Avenue to take a right-hand turn on 33rd Street. And you could feel things were different, even from the Upper West Side. Just the vibe and the energy of the whole city was just electrified. Getting down towards Madison Square Garden, seeing the crowd already starting to build, the police officers surrounding the Garden. It was a carnival-like atmosphere. Obviously, we knew we were something on the cusp of doing something that hadn't been done in 54 years. The magnitude of it was palpable. I mean, the energy, just everything just seemed to be so electrified. You try to keep yourself in the moment. You try to stay with your routine. Obviously, there's a much more at stake. And then, we found ourselves, much like we did in 87, up 3-1 in the series, losing to the 5th game, where it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that the New York Rangers were finally going to win a Stanley Cup after 54 years. Only to find ourselves, the party atmosphere got a little bit delayed and then had to go back to Vancouver, which again, we got trounced in Vancouver, just like we did in 87. And now we're coming home for Game 7. And the same thing happened. It just, we felt good about our chances. We felt we were a better team than Vancouver. We felt that we should have wrapped up the series earlier against Vancouver, but that's the greatest thing about sports. You can think all you want, but the reality is, they got a heartbeat over there too. They got pride over there too. They're there for a reason because they're a great team. And here we are in Game 7 and happen to go out and execute a great game plan to beat a very hungry, very young, very physical, hard team to play against in Vancouver. And luckily for us, we had a lot of experience. We had a dynamic, incredible amount of talent with Brian Leach and Sergei Zubov, Alex Kovalev, Adam Graves and Mike Richter and net, and then sprinkled in with some veterans, some hardened veterans with McTavish and Tikkanen and Steve Larmer and Noonan and Mateau and Jeff Bukaboom and Jay Wells and all the amazing players that banded together that year to create maybe not the most skilled team that's ever won a Stanley Cup, but if you look up the word team, they could put the 1994 Ranger team right there, and that year, that team epitomizes what a team is all about.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite SiriusXM programming on demand with the SiriusXM app. Download it now for free.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lightning on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 945, Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m. New York Rangers face the Philadelphia Flyers. Rangers on XM 219 Internet 938, Flyers on Internet 940. 8 p.m. Minnesota Wild face the San Jose Sharks. Wild on XM 220 Internet 933, Sharks on Internet 942. 10 p.m. Anaheim Ducks host the Calgary Flames. Ducks on XM 221 Internet 920, Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the St. Louis Blues. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Blues on Internet 944. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lightning on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 945, Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m. New York Rangers face the Philadelphia Flyers. Rangers on XM 219 Internet 938, Flyers on Internet 940. 8 p.m. Minnesota Wild face the San Jose Sharks. Wild on XM 220 Internet 933, Sharks on Internet 942. 10 p.m. Anaheim Ducks host the Calgary Flames. Ducks on XM 221 Internet 920, Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the St. Louis Blues. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Blues on Internet 944. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 9th.
The PGA Tour comes to life on SiriusXM. It's your destination for everything on the tour. Hear live hole-by-hole coverage and expert analysis. PGA Tour Radio, SiriusXM 92.
Six-time Stanley Cup champion and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier stopped by SiriusXM NHL Network Radio's The Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin to discuss what Game 7 means to him and what it's like to also lose a Game 7.
Well, when you think about the two greatest words in sports, you think about Game 7 for many reasons.